All right, what's going on, man? Welcome back to the basement. I'm Ron. We got Danny on the channel here. We're gonna hop into some best ball mania drafts. How is it going, Danny, my good friend?
Not too bad, not too bad. I just put up on Twitter how I finished my 75th BBM. I'm not gonna lie though, being in Ontario, I had to enter in Buffalo, so a lot of them are slows, and I'm just craving a fast draft. I'm craving being in that room, the vibes of the room, because at the end of the day, obviously you're gonna get your fix if you're drafting 15 teams at once throughout a day, but nothing like a fast draft, being able to adapt on the clock, being able to understand exactly what's going on in your room. Yeah, get that feel, because at the end of the day, every single draft room on Underdog I find is completely different. You'll have some boomers that'll just take like Josh Jacobs in the second, and then you'll have other rooms where Brees Hall's going in the mid fourth round. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like right now, I think too. I don't know. Like we were talking about it. Like I think there's some new people on the site. Like they're looking at like what's going on.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, the rooms are as soft as they've ever been this summer. Now I will say what's going on in the chat. We got Heads in here. We got Kyle Neeson in here. I know Spicy Hot's your
The
boy.
lads.
Toronto Dave, the Mandem. What's going on, my boy?
Yeah. Let's go.
But all right, let me share my screen. We'll hop into one of these. We'll cook up right here because I am excited to get into. I've been blasting off a little bit, trying to get my BBMs up. I'm at like, dude, I'm lacking. I'm like at 49 right now.
I feel that.
So I feel like I'm behind. I got caught up in the hype of the Pomeranians and the puppies, and I've lost track of what we do this for. The 3 mil up top in the
Bro.
BBMs.
Oh, I can't wait. And man, if one of us is able to come down with this BBM, obviously, like we know Liam, we know Herzig, we know obviously Karain, but I mean, if just somebody in the circle comes down with that 3 milli, comes down with that first place prize, man, it's just going to be different. Because again, that's life changing amount of money.
Yeah, dude. Like it would be. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you. I feel it. I feel it coming. We're going to hop in here. If anybody wants to hop in, by the way, promo code Ron, if you're new to Underdog Fantasy, I have a link in the live chat, description, comment section down below. You click it takes you there. Matches your deposit up to $100. So feel free to hop in with us. So this is actually kind of a slow filling room. We got 7 spots open. Come draft against me and Danny here.
Yeah, and we're just trying out a new StreamYard feature. You guys should be seeing this multicasted to both mine and Ron's channel. So new feature. I'm just excited because now every time we do these streams, we can just completely simulcast them bad boys.
Yeah, exactly. And like in the past, we've had to we'll do one stream in one spot and a stream in another. And this is pretty dope. I'll be curious to see kind of, it goes without a hitch, but it looks like it's going pretty well right now. We got a bunch of questions in the chat. I know this is something we have cooking right now, but I did drop a. I took some of the player fades and I made a little video today.
Let's go.
And Hurricane Lane said, I was surprised to see you with only one share. Yeah, I've only drafted Devonta Smith one singular time through like 185 drafts right now. But yeah, you're spot on. Like wide receiver 2 on a run heavy team, like it's not going to be good, fellas. Like AJ Brown could go down, he could pop off, and there's the upside case. And maybe they're playing the AFC East, the AFC Beast, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, you need the upside in that range, especially with the running backs going there.
I'll quickly check what my exposure is for him, but I believe it's around the same. Like I have 4% Devonta Smith right now, so 3 total entries with him, and most of the time that's when he's falling to the 3rd round, and maybe I took Jalen Hurts in the 2nd. So I completely agree with you. It's tough to project, and again, I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, of course the Cowboys fan is fading the Eagles players," but it's just tough to project the number 2 weapon on what should be a run dominant team, who, not to mention, nobody's even mentioning the fact that Shane Steichen leaving could potentially be a big deal. We could see some potential growing pains at the early portion of the year. Could be more a Jalen Hurts centric offense to start the year. I'm just a little bit worried. I'd rather take, for example, in that range, a guy like T. Higgins, who we know is insulated to maybe 650 pass attempts from Joe Burrow, assuming Joe Burrow is fully healthy. Hopefully it's a calf strain, and some other upside options, especially those running backs at the beginning of the draft. But I also see that Spicy Hot asks, are the chats combined too? Yes, they actually are. So you can see both my chats on our stream at FSC. You can see both Ron's chats over on Ron's channel as well. So we're working through both.
Yeah, we can see them. We can see them all here. In our StreamYard or whatever, which is cool. So I can just throw up anybody. We get the 8 spot. I'm sort of cool with it. I'm not crazy about it. I've been loving the 3-4, like right where you can get kind of like Cup, Tyreek. I will say I posted a picture the other day. Getting the 101, like last year, I remember I was stoked about the 101 because like the 2-3, it felt like was amazing last year with like Andrews and AJ Brown. And I'm trying to think of like, was there maybe like a year 2 wide receiver around there?
If I'm trying to think from last year's ADP, I know, I mean, T. Higgins is going in that range as well. His ADP has been pretty stagnant. And I'm trying to think, I mean, Tyreek Hill was actually going in that range last year.
He was. You could open like Cup, Tyreek, AJ Brown last year. Now, what are we thinking here? I think we both like a guy on the board.
Yeah, I mean, it would be between two guys, but the one that I'm leaning for here, especially in the half PPR format, is my running back one in the NFL season for 2023, Bijan Robinson. I mean, taking him at 8th overall feels stomachable because at the end of the day, I do think when it comes late August, this may be a guy going in the top 5.
Dude, I have so much for a guy who goes in the first round, like 13.9% Bijan. Like, I think he's probably my most drafted first round player right now, Bijan. I'm not sure.
Same. 15%.
Maybe, no, Diggs is actually a little bit above him. And it was funny because you commented about Diggs on like a draft. And I was like, I don't really like Diggs that much. And it's like, no, I'm drafting him pretty much all the time.
Well, it's remarkable to me because he had such a strong start to the year before, obviously, Josh Allen dealt with the elbow issues, dealt with the UCL injury. This was a legitimate player that was averaging Cooper Kupp level dominance. They were both averaging 24.8 PPR points per game. I understand half PPR nature is going to be different on Underdog, but if anything, I want the ability to score long plays, long touchdowns, and what should be a really insulated offense, assuming Josh Allen's at full health. Josh Allen, by the way, last year was legitimately averaging 28 points per game prior to that elbow injury. I don't think people are bringing that up enough. Like, it's a legitimate injury. We're talking about UCL, where major league athletes, major league baseball pitchers get Tommy John surgery and are out for months and months on end. Josh Allen played through it at the end of the year. So, of course, his efficiency is going to drop. Of course, he's not going to look like the same quarterback. Obviously, dealt with some turnover issues at the end of the year. I think they're going to be the number one offense in the NFL, and Stephon Diggs is a clear top 5 overall player for me. And this is going to sound like a hot take. We're going to be going through our ranking show, of course, throughout August, but Stephon Diggs is my current 104. He is my 4th overall player, ahead of Cooper Kupp, ahead of Bijan Robinson, ahead of not Tyreek Hill, ahead of Christian McCaffrey, ahead of Travis Kelce. I think Stephon Diggs is well within that top tier of the wide receivers, but it kind of feels like right now he's being treated as maybe the top tier 2 or maybe in a 1B tier of himself.
Yeah, that's a good point too with the Josh Allen thing. Like, people in my quarterback rankings video, they're like Josh Allen at 1, and it's like, dude, like he would have been the QB1 overall. Like, he would have been the QB1 overall like most years. It was just a good year last year. But we do have Amon-Ra, we have Waddle, we have JT, Olave, Pollard. You got any leans here?
Amon-Ra all the way, man. This is a guy that I actually have ranked as, I think, my 10th or 11th overall player. So getting him there at 17th overall, especially in a 3 wide receiver start format, once we got our anchor with Bijan, this is one of my favorite duos to start a draft, to be honest.
Yeah, I started one like this, I think last night. And I was going to say on the Josh Allen point, like, even with the UCL thing, like, he still finished with like 25 points per game, which is just so wild. Like, he was still keeping pace with Mahomes and Hurts over a season-long spot. And you can go each of the last 3 years, he's been at like 25 points per game. So, like, just because he didn't finish at the top of the mountain last year, like, and you gave the context of the injury, like, to me, he's the clear 101 because he could have the same passing ceiling as a Mahomes, where he can challenge for like 40 passing touchdowns, and then he also has the rushing upside. So to me, it's pretty. And I think the defense might regress a little bit this year. The defense came in really hot last year, and it's not. Look, I stand the offensive side of the ball here, but it's not as strong as it's been. I feel like,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Also, a quick note on Josh Allen is I don't think people understand. Like, I mentioned, obviously, his points per game, but he was going to win MVP last year if he didn't get hurt. He was averaging 314 passing yards per game, nearly 3 passing touchdowns per game. If you paced out his pace in those first 8 games prior to the injury, he would have thrown for 46 passing touchdowns on top of averaging over 40 rushing yards per game and 0.3 rushing touchdowns per game in that stretch. He was the definition of a cheat code, but of course he dealt with the injury. Obviously, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes were very strong down the stretch. So now we're getting value on a guy in Josh Allen, who I think, personally, this sounds like a hot take. It kind of feels like he's in a tier 1A by himself at quarterback for me personally, just because the ceiling he can reach from a passing and a rushing standpoint, no other quarterback, I think, in fantasy can reach that level. Because as much as I love Jalen Hurts, he's probably not throwing for over maybe 25, 26 passing touchdowns. As much as I love Patrick Mahomes, he's not rushing for over 600, 700 rushing yards. Josh Allen combines both of those factors.
Yeah, and he goes the latest. Like that's that's honestly why I take a lot of digs, is just because you can take digs at like 6 or 7, and you have a really good chance that like I have a couple drafts out there that like
round.
I went digs like Devontae Allen, and it's just like I almost have to hide those drafts for myself because I start to
Unfair.
drool.
Yeah, it's literally unfair. By the way, I am praying on a miracle here. Hopefully, we're not too many bad bros in the chat. Hopefully, we could get one of those elite anchor quarterbacks falling back to us. Because, I mean, if you're starting a draft Bijan, Amon-Ra, and potentially either Hurts or Allen there, I mean, you absolutely cannot go wrong.
Yeah, it's really fun. So there goes that quarterback. We'll see
Praying.
if the Diggs drafter
That's
passes
fair.
on him. He's not a badge bro, though. So we'll kind of see. We'll see sort of what he has cooking up there. I did want to ask as well, like, you've been pretty vocal about loving the elite quarterbacks. Like, are you saying like late second, even in like your home league, you're still taking like Allen here if you had to?
Yep, I would be more than comfortable taking Allen at that 2-3 turn area. In fact, I kind of mentioned it off stream to a friend in the DM that I personally, people shit on the 5th overall pick because they kind of view, oh, well, you know what, I don't want 5th or 6th overall because I either want the top end or the bottom end. But you're telling me at 5th or 6th overall, like for example, where Greg Tobin is, he was 1 pick off of Tony Pollard. My ideal start at that spot would literally be Stephon Diggs, Tony Pollard, Josh Allen. Obviously, of course, Jonathan Taylor's good as well. But if that was a Stephon Diggs, Tony Pollard, Josh Allen, that is literally the nuts range of outcome, in my opinion. That is a start that I think can legitimately win leagues. By the way, I will let you make this pick. But
do you have a guy you like here? Or no?
I mean, I like Brees, but I feel like given the Cook news, you could probably get him at a better cost. I'll let you make this pick because there's a couple guys.
Debo's my guy. I know I keep talking about Debo. He's a guy that I think could be really nice this year. We're getting a decent little discount on him. I still think he's a talented player as well. I think that's really important. He's still a really good wide receiver. Or I guess like offensive weapon, if you want to call him that.
Wait, by the way, Javonte just went at the 27th.
Wait, what the damn hell?
I just took that in too. By the way, I was hoping Calvin Ridley was going to fall back to us. People are getting sharp on his ADP now.
He's going to go, dude. I'm telling you, like, count your lucky. I got Calvin Ridley at the 310 this morning in a draft. Like, anytime you see him in the mid to late third, fellas, like everybody in the chat, I'm telling you, take Ridley. He's going to be a guy, dude. We're 1 or 2 more hype videos away from him going probably ahead of like Devonta Smith here. Like, it wouldn't shock me at all to see him be in this area. So
he should go ahead of Devonta Smith.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you there. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like he's steaming up, and it's this is actually a really unique start. He got Olave to fall to him at 24, and then he like reached on Ridley there.
Yeah, no, I messed with it. I've experienced taking Calvin Ridley in the early 3rd round since last month when his ADP was back at like 32, 33, 34. Now it's like a commonality. People are not letting Calvin Ridley pass that mid-3rd area, and he's been a top 25 player for me, top 25 player for Corey for literally the last month. So I'm glad to see that people are getting sharper, but I'm also not happy because people are getting sharper.
No, the discount is it's going to slip away here. Like I like that, the ADP hasn't fully caught up yet. Like I think that, he was taking 25 here, 30.7. Like this is going to creep up. This is going to be like 25 the ADP, 2nd week of August. So
agreed.
Right now when people are just sort of snoozing, following the ADP, you can get them to slip a little bit.
Yep. No, I agree there. We quickly got a comment too. Andrew was asking, would it be crazy to start a PPR redraft after drafting Bijan in the 1st, Chubb in the 2nd?
Hold up. We're on the clock.
Oh, okay. We'll make the pick first.
I feel like you like Amari. I'd be fine with him here. I mean,
I like Amari or Judy here for me.
Let's go. I don't have really any Amari, and I rarely see him fall. It's like I mean,
7 spots.
Amari Cooper. Like I'm cool with that. But which comment were we looking at here?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, Andrew asked, would it be crazy to start a PPR redraft drafting Bijan in the 1st, Chubb in the 2nd, if all the wide receivers after Brown and Adams have been taken? So I'm assuming Brown and Adams, you're probably looking like Amon-Ra St. Brown's taken. You're probably looking at Chubb probably in the mid to late 2nd in that area. If that's the case, I don't mind it. Obviously in the PPR, it's going to hurt, but I just think that's a unique start. You're not really seeing many Bijan Chubb starts, given the fact that both of them are raising pretty heavily in ADP.
Let me show you guys something real quick. That is actually exactly how I started one of these high stakes drafts I did a couple weeks ago. I went Bijan at 8. I came back and went Chubb, and then we just hammered. Like, this is what, if I took 2 running backs early, like everybody on my channel knows, like I'm not really a running back early guy. If I take 2 early, I'm hammering out everything else. So I go like Debo, Moore, Herbert. I get the Herbert to Quentin Johnston. He falls like the 8th. Michael Pittman in the 7th. Yeah, like it's a nice team. We get like Charbonnet, Kendra, a couple more like upside shots at sort of filling in that bye weeks, whatever we need down the stretch. But my biggest thing would be, I think Bijan and Chubb you can very much get away with. I would just really make sure that you're making up ground in like that round 3 to like 10 range.
100%. You have to be selective. If you're going to start that, you have to make sure that you're catching up at wide receiver. So I agree with you there. I also want to quickly mention the fact that with Bijan, with Chubb, you don't really see that a lot, because at the end of the day, like, we're seeing a lot more Chubb going at the end of the first round, early second round area. We're seeing a lot more Bijan going. I mean, we got him at 8th overall here, but I've seen him go like 6, 7 overall at points, which I think should be his ADP, especially in a half PPR setting. Like, this guy's got the opportunity to finish as the #1 player in all of fantasy sans quarterbacks.
How do you feel about Chubb this year?
I'm about aligned with market, I would say. I'm not too high, not too low. I think I have him about 17th overall right now in my rankings.
Yeah.
He's a guy, if he falls in the mid-second, I'm high on the Browns offense. I'm high, obviously, on the talent there. The main thing I can't get by with people who are ranking him as a first rounder is that he's not going to catch 40, 45, 50 passes. So he needs that offense to be consistent week to week. Whereas a guy like Tony Pollard, I feel like is going to have that same insulation of very good offense, but he's going to have more receiving upside. So for me personally, I would rather Pollard straight up, but that doesn't really seem like a commonality amongst a lot of drafters.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Like I'm taking Pollard over him straight up. I'm taking probably Saquon over him straight up. But then after that, like I like, and I'm sort of shocked by it. I kind of prefer Chubb over Taylor.
I do too.
At this point. Now we are on the board here. I kind of hate everything. Do you like anything here?
It's tough for me to pass on Herbert here, especially because we can wrap around and get a guy like Quentin Johnston probably round 7.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Sounds good.
Herbert's been a guy I've been drafting a ton of too. Because if we're gonna have a market now where Mahomes is 23rd and Hurts is here and Allen is here, like, this is probably too late on Herbert. Probably, yeah, especially no. This is what the issue is. Look, I loved Burrow. I love Burrow. He's really cool. He's not 20 picks ahead of Burrow. Yeah, but he's not 20 picks ahead of Herbert. There's similar profiles, right? Where it's like sub Mahomes level rushing, but like close to it. Big receiving ceiling. Now Herbert finally has weapons and like a competent play caller, all over that.
Speaking quickly, dude, I am loving the fact of the high testosterone that legendary legend is starting. My God, like, the T levels are through the roof. He must be putting on 4 plates on that bar, ripping it as we speak. Finishes his set, looks down. He's like, let's fucking go. 4th round Joe Mixon, baby. All jokes aside, though, no, we're going to see a lot more variance in these rooms as people are getting adept and people are getting these drafts. Because I'm telling you, 2 months ago, it was just straight sickos in every room. I swear the over-under for badges in every single room was like 8.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And you'd be surprised because, I mean, like, $25 buy-in, like, that's some skin in the game here. But, like, you're getting, like, these guys don't look super experienced. Like, 4 running backs in a row. I mean, Godspeed. Guess that's his smelling salts between sets. He just looks up, he's on the clock, and he just picks the first running back that comes to his mind. But, hey, man.
Amen.
You do you.
By the way, I quickly wanted to ask you, over under Quentin Johnston, middle of the 6th round ADP, if we get like 2 or 3 more hype videos from camp.
Dude, I'm telling you, I don't think he's going to, because people dude, there's something about what are we saying at this pick? I kind of like Godwin, but I also don't mind Kittle if we want to wrap around. Wrap around. Obviously, we got the correlation with Debo. You get Kittle, maybe get a cheap Lance or Brock Purdy later in the draft. That could be. Yeah, I say we go Kittle. Yeah, sounds good. But what the heck was I talking about? Yeah, dude, people like, he's so polarizing because of the hands thing. I think that he probably comes up to like where Addison goes, but I don't see him rising much more. Like, I think there's something about the hands and like him coming out. People don't like him. I also seen player profilers been peddling. They've been peddling the anti Quentin Johnston propaganda. Like, he's a very polarizing player for whatever reason. That I think is going to keep him in a really nice range for us here. That's really exciting because he does feel like, I've made this comparison. He's not quite as cheap now. And it's a different situation where he's not getting weighed down by Zach Wilson. But Garrett Wilson last year was the guy where, like me and you, we have the dynasty background. So we know any way you wanted to cut it last year, London, Garrett Wilson, and Burks, similar tier of prospects. If you want to take out Burks because of the top 10 draft capital, then Drake London and Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson shouldn't have been 4 rounds cheaper. Same thing with Addison and JSN. Like they're all, or if you want to say just Addison, but they're all similar tier of wide receivers, and there's not really a material reason to have QJ. Oh, and he goes on us.
Come on,
damn.
Man. What's a click? How much higher he took him ahead of ADP?
It's got to be like 10 picks.
100% has to be, maybe even more, bro.
Yeah, 79.9 takes him at 70.
Damn it.
Without a single. I mean, I guess he has Denver Chargers, but God damn it, dude.
I mean, I guess like if we want some backdoor.
I mean, you're right though. He just went in the 6th, so I'm. What do I know? Like this is draft season.
I mean, for what it's worth, we could potentially still backdoor. I know this can sound gross, but tight end 2 Gerald Everett season seems pretty fine to me.
I love Everett. Like Herbert's price is so nice right now that like if I have to take Everett, Palmer. I'm curious, what are you at on like the backup running back in LA? Like, do you have a strong take on like Spiller versus Kelly versus I don't know who else?
I want to think it's Spiller just because of my pre-draft bias last year, because I thought he was a better prospect than what the NFL apparently thought. But I mean, he was inefficient as a rookie. He didn't really get a lot of opportunity as a rookie, and it kind of speaks volumes to the fact that he wasn't able to work into the backfield more often at the end of the season. Josh Kelly was in front of him. There was no excuse for him not to get more early down work, not more between the tackles work, but he just didn't. He got 30 total touches last year. Like Eckler's been praying for a guy that can take some work off his plate for him, and he just simply wasn't able to deliver. So if it's at cost, you're getting him maybe like round 16, round 17, you want to take a shot there. Maybe he develops as a second-year player because, again, we've seen some cases where backs were inefficient and maybe that was just a rookie pain. Like, for example, I think Melvin Gordon in his rookie year had like 220 touches and 0 touchdowns.
Not good. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, maybe you give him the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, I have to get him at an extreme discount to be able to do that.
Anybody stick out here? We could go. I don't mind Burks.
I was just going to say, I don't hate Burks here. Don't hate Burks. I also don't mind Montgomery if we want to build some correlation with Detroit, maybe backdoor like a Dak or a Gallup or something. So you get that week 17. But yeah, I'll let you make the choice here. Because I mean, like,
so he's got to take another running back. Nope.
But Zay Flowers getting steamed up a lot now.
Oh yeah, he's going ahead of Bateman. Let's go Burks. We'll just build out this wide receiver core. It's a nice little hero RB type thing going on here. But yeah, legendary. I am legend. 2 wide receivers in a row. Congrats, brother.
Yeah, let's go, bro. And then
you are right. Zay Flowers is getting steamed up. Bateman keeps falling. I mean, he starts on pup. He gets the cortisone shot, so I get it.
But at the same time, it's like, okay.
Zay Flowers over Elijah Moore. I can't get there. How are you feeling about Brandon Cooks? As kind of I kind of like him. I don't if I like him in this kind of like once Elijah Moore is gone and Bateman is gone, I'll take him. I'll mix him in a little bit.
Yeah, I don't mind him either. Like 8th round seems about appropriate. Obviously, we're getting that potential deep threat on what should be a top 5 offense, in my opinion, in Dallas. We talked about it. You guys were going to see a sneak peek, for tomorrow's video and for Monday's video, but we're talking a little bit about the Cowboys offense, and people are so worried. Oh, Schottenheimer's calling plays. Kellen Moore is this young guru of a coach. It's like 70+% of the offensive language is going to say the same. Guess what? Dak Prescott is still the quarterback. No matter what your opinion is of Dak Prescott, he's been able to hold that offense to top 5, top 10 level expectations, even before Kellen Moore was there. Even with Jason Garrett at the helm, Dak Prescott was still a good quarterback, threw 30 touchdowns in 2019 prior to Jason Garrett getting cut, I want to say, but getting fired. So
pretty much
as long as Dak Prescott's starting, I have full confidence in the offense, and Brandon Cooks fills a need for what this team needed. They needed that player with the juice that can affect that third level of the field. Brandon Cooks, while he may not be that similar 120 plus target player that he was in Houston, if he's like 105 targets and he's catching maybe, a deep bomb a game or 2 deep bombs a game, like he's going to return value, especially in that offense, especially given the fact that as against people are on Dak, he's going to throw for 30, 35 plus touchdowns, assuming he plays all 17 games.
It's so crazy. All right, so Montgomery's way past ADP here. I think that this has to be the pick. Like 89, like I don't even like Montgomery, but we have a Detroit. Like, just have to be mindful about kind of getting Cowboys on the other way. Dak can definitely be in the mix. Gallup,
I mean, hopefully, if Cook somehow falls, that'd be great given the T levels in this room. But probably not going to get Cooks.
Now I might get exposed here, but I don't remember you bringing up Gallup on our show yesterday, right?
Oh, I have a ludicrous amount of Gallup. I didn't want to. I wanted to more so mention like the guys going higher in drafts. But
yeah,
Gallup.
That's why I wanted to ask, because you have a lot of. I saw you sent the screenshot. I was like, holy shit, you have a lot of Gallup, and I figured we didn't talk about it yesterday. So I'm kind of curious. What's the explanation with the Gallup exposure?
Well, the explanation with the Gallup exposure is simply because he's too cheap to be the third weapon on a top offense. That's pretty much where I get down to. I'm consistently getting this guy round 12, round 13. He's already shown the ability to win deep. Had a season a couple years ago with 70 receptions, 1,100 yards as a second-year player. And I understand he's probably not at that level of a talent because he's dealt with injuries. He's a little bit older now. He's kind of flatlined as a player, but you're still getting that big play ability. You're still getting that outside the numbers, go up and get it type of ability that Gallup has shown in the past. And for a quarterback that I think personally is going to throw 30, 35 plus touchdowns, I want that type of exposure because he could have an outlier 8, 9, 10 touchdown season. And if that were to be the case, again, I'm not projecting it, but if that were to be the case for Gallup, him going in round 12, 13 is going to be one of the steals of the draft. Yeah,
100%. And it's like Kellen Moore is a good play caller, but he didn't give Gallup a lot of help last year. Like, you know, he coming off the ACL injury, not a lot of explosion. He was running a lot of those like comebacks. Like there were multiple picks off of like, the hard stops and the cutting. Yeah. And there were just times where, you know, you guys are running like T.Y. Hilton out there. So you're so thin at wide receiver that like Dak's going to throw some picks when we're running comebacks with a guy off an ACL and T.Y. Hilton, you know?
Yeah, no, it was pretty funny how people are so, Dak is a turnover prone quarterback. Like he's had 2 seasons in his 7-year career with over a 2% interception rate. You know what his interception rate was last year?
What?
3.8%.
Yeah.
Literally double more, like literally more than double his career average. So maybe he throws 11, 12 interceptions in a full 17-game season. That's probably about the ceiling I see there, to be honest, because people are forgetting literally 2 years ago, he had a 37 touchdown, 10 interception year.
Yeah. Like it's not up for debate that he's at the very least a good quarterback bordering on elite. Like I've said this before. I mean, we have Aaron Rodgers now, so you know I'm not quite the beggar I used to be. But I was like, dude, I would burn villages to the ground to have Dak Prescott as my quarterback during the Mark Sanchez. Dude, put Dak Prescott on those Mark Sanchez teams, dude, and we literally have a Super Bowl ring.
100%, 100%. Yeah, no, it is funny.
Imagine him with freaking dude like Braylon Edwards. Like,
wait, Deshaun fell to the 9-8.
Yeah, he fell far.
Oh my God, yeah. Like
the issue is we weren't going to get him because we had like bye week 5 is tough with the QBs.
Oh, fair, right? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I was eyeing him up because of our Amari, and I was like,
Now the question
that's
is,
far.
Do you want to take a JMO or a Rachaad Bateman here? And I mean, JMO's gone. I was going to say, do you want to take a Rachaad Bateman here or hope Dak makes it back, or do you just want to secure him right now?
Dude, what do you think about Bateman? Like, this is a crazy
price.
That's
what I'm saying.
Bateman. I think we have.
Should we go Bateman and hope he comes back?
Yeah, let's go Bateman. We'll see if Dak makes it back. Like,
worst case scenario, we pivot to Jared Goff in the same matchup.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We get like a Malik Davis or a Jake Ferguson, and we can kind of work through it that way. Gallup, all those guys.
Jake Ferguson is also another good value. I hate just bringing up, every Cowboy is a good value, but you're telling me a potential starting tight end in a role that produced top 8 level production, top 6 level production in the past is going in round 18. Like, I get it. I'm a fan of Schoonmaker. I think he'd be a really good player in the long term, but the guy's dealt with the pup the whole freaking offseason.
Yeah. Jake Ferguson, and he dealt with injuries at Michigan too, right?
Yep. I mean, Jake Ferguson's got basically all the starting snaps in the offseason thus far. So him going round 18, like, again, people are going to probably roast me in the chat. All he's doing is talking about Cowboys, but it feels like the negative bias against Dallas is getting these guys at a good value.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and Ferguson's tough for me because he didn't test well at all, but he looked like he could move last year, you know?
Very efficient last year. He was a top 12, I think, graded.
Like, hurdled the guy too. Like,
yeah.
He's not a you know, whatever. I mean, you could kind of say that. Like, I like the tight end room you guys got. Like, Hendershot was even interesting in some spots last year. Like, I definitely understand why they moved on from Schultz. Like, you guys had a decent room, threw another pick at it.
Yeah.
But you guys would have had to like tag Schultz or something. Like,
you don't
want to. Yeah. You're not tagging him. You're not signing Schultz to a lucrative long-term deal. So
he was extremely replaceable. Like if you look at every EPA metric of the Cowboys receivers and tight ends last year, Jake Ferguson blew him out of the water. I understand, obviously, sample size. He was dealing with like 30 targets as a sample versus 100 plus for Schultz, but at the same time, he was super efficient on those targets. So I don't mind giving him more.
Yeah, exactly. We have Dak still here, so I think we should take him.
Smash.
We're getting all of these guys way past ADP. Like, I mean, not like this is what? Like, this is like 8. We have like, I mean, this one's like 12. This one's like 7. This one's like 13.
I like how we got cooking here. Not to mention, I love a lot of the backs in this range too. The round 10 to like 13 backs. I'm just gobbling them up, to be honest. So you add a couple more on this team, and we got a lethal little start here. Quick note, Josh asked, Danny, you think Gibbs is a good producer as a starter for a contending dynasty team? So I'll just like air that out to both of us. I think he's going to be a top 15 overall running back, potentially even an RB1 this year. The way they're talking him up, especially in full PPR formats, is getting me really excited. Like, if this guy falls to the 4th round, I'm going to scoop him there every single time. Because at the end of the day, if you ask me right now, if I'm on the clock and I'm eyeing between Najee Harris, who we know is a middling talent, versus Jahmyr Gibbs, who got taken 12th overall and has the receiving skill set that we're craving, that same receiving skill set we were taking in the 1st round, 2nd round area with DeAndre Swift last year, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I had dynasty teams where, like, I love Gibbs and I have a couple shares of him, but I would have dynasty teams where, I'm sure me and you both have guys, teams where we were just like rebuilding, you have like 4 firsts, and one of them is like, Gibbs is my highest rated player here, but I'm not quite ready to turn this thing around like this year. So I would just trade off of those picks. Like, Gibbs is a guy, like, honestly, it's pretty funny. Honestly, almost any running back is kind of a contending asset if you want to get like 100%. Pretty back row here. Like, especially if you're going to take one with the rookie pick,
100%. The only quote unquote non-contending assets at running back are when you're in season and you're buying a guy who just tore his ACL, or you're buying a guy that just got hurt or is expected to miss time, because realistically they're not giving you points. If a running back is on the field and can give you points, he's a contending asset in my opinion. Because at the end of the day, if I am rebuilding, I want as minimal production at running back as possible, because we play in a lot of potential points leagues. If I don't have running backs that are producing potential points, that's already going to inherently benefit me for potentially tanking my own pick. So as good as, Jahmyr Gibbs is, he's a 3-year running back, I want to build around him. You're not building around a running back. You transfer that to wide receiver value. You transfer that to pick value. You transfer that to quarterback value. You don't hold that in the running back position, because your running backs should be viewed specifically as point producers. That is all. You're not like maybe Bijan, because like, maybe he's, going to be a 1st round pick again next year. Sure. But if Bijan Robinson could be the running back 1. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, what can I get for Bijan from an opportunity cost standpoint? Can I go up and get Deshaun Watson? Can I go up and maybe add a little bit to Justin Fields, get Justin Herbert, add a little piece to Bijan? I would rather use him as a piece to upgrade to an elite quarterback than just hold him for potentially competing in 2024.
Dude, I think there's places out there, man, that you can send Gibbs on a rebuilding team straight up for Kyler Murray.
Yep.
I think that's out there, and it's really not that uncommon.
Dude, I've gotten questions on even our streams of like, I started off quarterback, but Kyler's facing me in the face at like the early 4th round, and I'm like, they're like, should I take him? I'm like, yeah, like
you should drop everything that you may be doing right now and go take him. Like, that's insane. Like, we have a amazing, in the context of fantasy football, we have like one of the best prospects of all time. Goes 1st overall, and then averages over 20 points per game through his first few seasons. And now he's going like the 4th round in Superflex leagues, when he's literally just going to rebound to be a 1-2 turn guy again.
100%.
Not that far away. All right, so let's see what's on the board.
Yeah, let's pray. People are teeing up on the running back position. I don't have an affinity. I don't mind Jerick at this cost. What's his ADP? 124. We'd be getting him at the 128. You're getting potential insulation with Mahomes there. I don't hate that. I don't know. What
Gallup, if you want to secure Gallup, I think it's probably worth.
Do you think we'll be able to get him back? Is the question mark I have. Or is there like, or do you think just take him now and take whatever running back kind of falls?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking at. Just because like we could have played that game with Gallup, but if somebody takes him, like our Dallas stack starts to look a little bit thin. And then it's just like we might be good, or no. We could maybe take like one more wide receiver.
Super late. Maybe take a shot at like, I don't know, John Mechie. Take a shot at
Palmer.
Like someone like that. You know what I mean?
So we got to be looking at. I do want to just make sure we're on our correlation shit, if you will. So Amen. Everett, you know the vibes, of course.
Amen. Just tag them all in.
Who do you like between Deuce and Malik Davis? If you had to, because like sometimes I'll have a Detroit Cowboy stack and I won't have Pollard, and I'll just be like, I've been taking Davis, but
I don't think Dowdle is out of the discussion either. I would lean Davis,
I remember that name when he came out as like a UDFA that was like kind of interesting. Maybe a South Carolina guy, but
I would probably lean Davis out of the bunch, but if Davis gets steamed up to like round 15 or 16, I'll just go with an alternative in round 18, to be honest. Like that is how like indifferent I am about them. By the way, quick note, Romeo Doubs right now is probably one of the most inefficiently priced receivers in my opinion, because I think it's just as plausible that Jaden Reed works ahead of him on the depth chart, and Jaden Reed is going 4 rounds later.
Yeah, Jaden Reed is probably wrong. I think honestly, a lot of these rookie wide receivers, like these aren't guys that I'm dying to draft in Dynasty, but like when we're talking double-digit rounds and we know the upside of a rookie wide receiver, like Rashee Rice, Mingo, like you said, Jaden Reed, like all those guys, very interesting where they go.
Yep, agreed there. So we're eyeing down. We got obviously
a lot of Jalen Naylor reports, right? For all the KJ Osborne, like, oh, dude, there's no like before they drafted Addison and he was like a 9th round pick. Now he's getting steamed down. They're saying Jalen Naylor might even be over him.
Let's hope these guys with 4 running backs don't decide to take a 5th, because I think Jerick McKinnon 13 picks past ADP is a really nice value.
That would be very fun.
Please. 12th round DPJ now, eh? Oh wow, Kyler. That's the highest I've seen Kyler go in a while.
Go McKinnon.
Yep, sounds good. Can you check Kyler's ADP real quickly? Because I can routinely get him in like round 15, 16 area.
149 right now.
Wow, so he's risen then. So 13, I got good value on him.
Oh yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I remember when he was like 167 was like his ADP for a while. He was hovering around.
Yeah, I know exactly. Sorry, I was just reading Jasmine's comment. Nail her. I barely know her.
Nah.
Don't kill me.
God damn it.
Yeah, no, I'm liking the team we got going here. Jerick McKinnon at that spot. Like, I understand he's literally like the type of running back I always find myself avoiding. You know, the older running back, washed up in a committee. But at the end of the day, if he's going to have a receiving profile and he's going to be attached to Mahomes and I can get him 13 picks past ADP in round 12, I'm more than fine with that.
We got Brendan Kovar in here. This is a kid I went to high school with.
Let's go.
I love what dude. Sometimes the hometown boys will pop in the chat and say what's up.
Dude, say the same with me.
He's a guy. I don't play in a league with him anymore. I won so I started doing this seriously a couple of years ago, like right when I was graduating high school. And I think I won the league, and then after that, it pretty much collapsed. It was like Ron's taking this too seriously. But Kovar was one of the dudes who took it as serious as me. Probably it's pretty funny. You probably know this too. Like you'll have some guys in your home league that are like, I mean, like they're solid. You know what I mean? Like like he was good. I remember in high school, like him and his dad would like co-manage like high stakes Yahoo leagues, and he would like show me his teams and shit.
100%. And I feel like that's the beauty of the home leagues, right? Is that you'll get like the select few guys who are comp. Like, for example, I already know like a lot of my buddies like will take it seriously, especially like my buddy Marco, for example. Like he shares a lot of thoughts with me because I mean I always like talk about fantasy with him. And then you'll just have the couple tacos that like will literally open the app the week before the draft, kind of see what the ADP is, close it, and then show back up the draft. Just kind of vibe.
Dude, my league's taco, it's so funny. He actually won the championship the first year because he just lucked into Antonio Brown, Todd Gurley. When Todd Gurley went second round and just like murdered us all. Like we couldn't do anything about it. I actually think there's a story in general that I remember, and Kovar might forget. But there was this one year, and I hate to admit this, but I was out of contention, and he had Todd Gurley. And it was the week. Remember when like Malcolm Brown was a guy you had to start in like week 17 because like Gurley got hurt or something. Like I was out of contention. I scooped Malcolm Brown, so he lost in the championship.
Dude, that is the funniest thing. No, I have a memory. One time I was in a league, and my team was loaded. Keep this in mind. That was when Damian Williams was going on a stretch with the Chiefs, and in week 17 that year he had like 25 PPR points. I had him on my team, and I think I dropped him because I needed like a tight end for that week, and my running backs were loaded. I was in the championship. My opponent in the championship picks up Damian Williams and beats me with Damian Williams.
Oh, yeah. Damian Williams was a hammer that year, dude.
Oh, dude, man, he was the go. I still remember people drafting him like 3 years later off of that stretch with KC, man.
Yeah,
Remember when he was the bear?
Yeah, dude. Got any leans here? We could go Roschon for some like Atlanta correlation if you wanted to. We could go just like a one-off Kendre. Yeah, I'm down for
hopefully both potentially. That would be great.
All right. Let's go Roschon just for the Chicago ATL, if you will.
Sounds good.
All right, so did I start Everett? Damn, so somebody took Everett, huh?
Yeah, someone did. Here. That's why I was cringing earlier. By the way, I mean, call me. We could go Laporta too.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that would make sense at the next pick. Assume if Kendre's there, I think my vote would go with Kendre. But if Laporta's there and Kendre's gone, I think that would be my lean.
Dude, Kendre too feels like a guy who's going to like. It wouldn't shock me if he had like a Dameon Pierce, like especially there's so many outs to it as well. One would just be hype, like how Dameon Pierce had last year, where he just got hyped up and he was like an 8th round pick by like late August. Yeah. If I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but Kamara hits with a suspension here, and Kendre Miller and Jamal Williams are both in the top 10 rounds, maybe top 11 rounds, like something like that. So hype. Kamara suspension, damn, and he goes, of course, while I'm talking him up.
Good pick. Was that the same guy who took Jamal? Or okay, no, it wasn't.
No.
I saw that. I was gonna say, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was looking too. I was like, yeah, we're probably safe at the 12 spot, but
so Josh said quickly, I got a dynasty question. My running back core is Dobbins, JT, and Gibbs. So would you trade Gibbs plus for someone like Amon-Ra to upgrade the receiver core? Receiver core right now is Lamb, Devontae, Kirk, and Deontay with Jameson on the bench. As much as I love like Amon-Ra, like I just don't view as big of a teeter gap between him and Gibbs as there is. Like they're currently going off the board, four picks behind or 4 picks between each other in Dynasty. Like if I'm going to give Gibbs plus, like I'm expecting at least Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I'm probably seeing what if you feel like you have too many running backs there, like if you're competing with those backs, or actually, I don't really have anything that I like on the board here. You got anything? Could go with just any dusty RB.
Why do you have to go with Laporta? Like, does he have any correlation?
You want to go like Ford? I don't know.
I don't mind Mims. Maybe close out the wide receivers.
Yeah, let's close out the wide receivers with Mims. Or actually, we want space for Palmer.
Right. Your call.
Random Gainwell. I'm in there. I'll take it.
By the way, I actually don't mind the value on Gainwell because you're getting him at a point where even if he works behind the 2 on the depth chart, he's going to be solid because he's got that implied value. But if any were to go down, like we're kind of mentioning, what if he becomes like the RB2 on an explosive offense that's going to be a committee backfield? You know what I mean?
They like him too.
Yeah.
He was featured in their playoff run, I believe, a decent chunk. They're so 100%. Funny, Philly, where they do the QB sneak cheese, but then they also let Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell punch it in on the goal line. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Kenneth Gainwell even being so small, they're going to have, they're going to have goal line looks. He's going to fall in the end zone a couple times. He can catch passes.
Agree with you there. By the way, too, a guy that I'm scared to admit that I'm taking a decent bit when he falls to this range. He got sniped 2 picks ahead of us, but I actually don't mind Devin Singletary because it's basically the bet that, well, Dameon Pierce, he's going to be the grinder between the tackles, but he's not going to contribute on third downs. And as bad or as inefficient of a receiver that Devin Singletary's been in the past with Buffalo, he was still trusted to take third down snaps. He was still trusted to get receiving work. And on a team that's going to be in a lot of negative game scripts, I can see him lucking into a couple weeks of like 7 targets and a receiving touchdown and making your lineup.
Yeah, I could see him as well. I think that he probably pops off in the downside case for Pierce. It's funny as someone that was like a huge Pierce fader coming out. I'm open to the idea that like he could be a 3-down back. Agreed. Like I think he apparently the film watchers say he could hop passes pretty well. My numbers say last year he actually was pretty good on a per route basis and could catch passes. It's just going to come down to who they want as that third down guy. But it's very live that it's just Singletary and they just use him in the 2-minute drill and stuff.
100%. So what tight ends are available right now? Because we also got sniped on Taysom Hill, which sucks because anytime I get sniped, I just default to Taysom Hill. I mean, like, if Mims makes it back, we got to go with him, right?
Yeah.
Fuck.
This could be, we could just go, I probably shouldn't have been as hesitant on that Mims pick because we could probably just go like 2-6-8-2 or even like 2. Like, I don't think we need a second tight end if we like, Mims goes, damn it. Doesn't say like, Kittle and any of these, like Kittle and Ferguson, like I wouldn't even be that stressed about it.
I agree.
Do
you have any preference between the Miami backs?
No, not really. Do you feel strongly about either?
I don't either.
I'll take the one who goes earlier if it's.
I don't mind that.
Yeah,
I mean, we're getting
like I'll just
like
take
8 picks of value on him. That's not bad.
Yeah, exactly. It's like nothing crazy, but we'll take that. Miami don't have, or we do have some Baltimore. We have a little mini with Rachaad.
Let's go.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that this is the funny thing, man. Like me and you said you're 75 through now, right? I'm like 50 through in terms of overall volume, like 180 through. Dude, in the 15th round, like I'm not going to sit here and puff my chest and be like, yeah, Raheem Mostert is like the greatest pick on the board right now. That's what correlation comes in, man. With these last picks where it's all dusty and it's like, who even cares? Like, do these players even matter? It's like, just get the ones that are correlated at the end. You know, like I've had people come on my stream. It's like, dude, like stacking is so dumb. It's like, dude, verifiably, like this works. Like if you look at Kareem's team last year, like he had the Tampa Bay Carolina game. He had the New England Miami game. Like it's a good way to just sort of lead yourself down a path at the end of a draft when it's like, I don't like any of these players. If I'm being completely honest, like I'm not stoked to take Raheem Mostert here. Like I'm not going to keep up for Zamir White. So,
well, I will say with both the Miami backs is I feel like, of course, you know, Devon Achane's going to be the one that you prefer, but regardless, they're going to be a committee backfield, and it feels like they're still kind of priced as though Dalvin Cook might go there. And by all accounts, it kind of feels like Dalvin Cook is between New England and New York right now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he's going to Miami. If he does, he's probably going to take a massive pay cut. But I mean, they don't have state income tax. Maybe he's like, or is it income tax or property tax? I don't know. They don't have high taxes.
Agreed. By the way, I'm not sure how you're going to feel about this, but I know I'm biased here, but John Mechie could potentially be the number 2 weapon.
And he gets sniped from you.
Oh my. Okay. I just not open my mouth, but we'll make our pick and then I'll quickly give a spiel.
Do you like Gus at all or no?
I don't mind Gus. I also don't mind Devontae at this point.
I'm only saying Gus because we're kind of building out. We got like Rachaad, we got Raheem. We can get Gus on the other side and just kind of, you know,
close out the RB core. Yeah, fuck with it. Yeah, because I mean we're so strong at wide receiver that we could basically make this a 2-7-7-2 and be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like where we're at here. Speaking of Mechie real quick, though, he's still the same player that went at the top of the second round last year that the team viewed as a legitimate, you know, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 type of talent. Missed the year, not with a season-ending injury, but with freaking leukemia. Yeah, and the guy's going in the 15th, 16th round area. Like, even if Nico Collins is the number 1 there, with a team that's going to be working in such a negative game script that he's shown the ability to command targets at Alabama. He's shown the ability to be a quality wide receiver at Alabama that, again, even if Nico Collins is the main target there, he can very well have 85, 90, 95. Like, what's the difference realistically in terms of his skill level? I think Mechie's a better talent, but in terms of his skill level between him and where we're taking a guy like KJ Osborne.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's like not even close. I think the KJ Osborne drafters would tell you that they're sort of just trying to draft a piece of a good offense, but I agree. Like talent-wise, it doesn't make sense at all. Mechie's a guy I liked coming out of school, like early declare, like good production. Like he's a guy I'm trying to think of kind of like similar comps, but like his profile is not all that similar from like Marvin Mims, you know, as like a second round, like little sort of undersized, like, you know, early declare, looks good in the numbers.
And Mechie's a fucking tough kid, man. Like, I know this is a really film bros take, but you watch this guy and he might be one of the most physical blockers I was watching. Like, he's going to earn snaps. He's going to earn a role. And I get it. People are going to be like, well, why do you want a receiver that's going to block? I just want a receiver that can get onto the field. Yeah. And if Houston values a player that is going to give you the tough, dirty work, is going to be able to convert the chains, is going to be able to give you inside out versatility, which is what he was able to do at Alabama, he's going to earn snaps on that team. And like we're kind of mentioning, if CJ Stroud is the quarterback that they took high in the draft and they have the belief in, and he could potentially be, you know, at least an average quarterback, maybe even a slightly below average quarterback this year, John Mechie is going to be able to return value at his current cost.
Just to sort of connect the dots, I think as well, I could be wrong. I think so. I think the guy's name is Bobby, who's coming over to be the OC for the Texans, who comes from a 49ers background. I think they like their wide receivers to block, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I think Jawan Jennings might be a good blocker. And then I remember LaFleur claimed to the Jets, and like why we would see like Mims sometimes get snapped over Elijah Moore is he liked Mims as a blocker. You know, the big physical. Same thing with Corey Davis, like these big physical guys. Lazard fits that too. Wow, Jake Ferguson's going to go right there?
No way.
Oh, my Lord,
shot.
legendary I am legend.
Why?
All right.
All right, buddy.
Do we just take like a Gasecki and just call it a day? Like, I don't even.
I think we should go 2 tight ends in a row now. Go tight ends. Oh, we need one more receiver now. Fuck.
Yeah.
Mayor. All day.
All right, let's go Mayor. Mayor.
Yeah.
And then I say we just go Palmer just to get a nice little because we right now have an unstacked Herbert, I think.
Yeah. I mean, do we have any? We don't have any. Who they play? Denver? No.
Yeah, they play Denver.
Yeah, they play Denver. That is disgusting. How do you?
Yeah.
Does he at least have Lions? Like, he probably doesn't, bro.
He does have Dallas. God damn it. Okay, he has Goff, Pollard, Brandon Cooks, JMO. Okay, fine.
Okay, nice wide receiver core.
That's on me for not keeping up with what he was setting up there, but I don't think we were taking 16th round Ferguson.
No, we weren't going to take him in the 16th. So, I mean, at the end of the day, from a pure projection standpoint, like if Michael Mayer is the talent that we both thought, I was really high on Mayer. I'm assuming you were as well.
Yeah.
From an analytical standpoint, like if he's that same type of prospect and he's earning day one snaps on Las Vegas, like Jimmy Garoppolo, I hate to make the narratives, but he's not the quarterback known for throwing it down the field. He seems like the type of quarterback that will trust his Jason Witten-esque intermediate target, which is what Michael Mayer profiles to be.
Yeah, Michael Mayer is really interesting too. I think I could be way off here, but I think Michael Mayer was like a decent basketball player. I think that he might have even been out of that Vegas area growing up, which I always love the basketball to tight end, sort of pipeline there. And that's actually good. That's a point. That's a dot I hadn't connected yet. That like Jimmy Garoppolo, that is his area of the field where like my biggest thing on Mayer wasn't even so much I can overlook, not being the most athletic dude of all time. Like if you're Greg Dulcich and your A dot coming out of school was like really, or like your yards per reception, but
it's a low A dot.
I'm saying Palmer here, unless Palmer.
All for it. So we had to scringe some correlation with Herbert there, but I mean, hypothetically here, all of the Cowboys go off. Maybe Dak throws a couple picks and Herbert makes your lineup in week 17. That's still going to pay off.
Yeah, exactly. We get Palmer, like probably by then Mike Williams or Keenan Allen are missing time.
Yeah.
Looking through the rest, but yeah, I mean, we got like Baltimore, Miami set up as well. Like everything looks good. I mean, we got Dallas,
couple Niners.
David Montgomery here is so nice on this team.
12 picks after ADP. That's nice.
Yeah, this is a nice team.
Jasmine says Mayer is also my tight end one in the class over Kincaid and Laporta. Like I agree. Like from a film and evaluation standpoint, from a talent standpoint, I do think Mayer is the tight end one. Now, when you're taking into the market, you're taking into how people are evaluating the landing spot for Kincaid. I understand if somebody has Kincaid over him in Dynasty simply because you project that offense to be a lot better. But I mean, Mayer should not be going 6-7 rounds after where Kincaid goes.
Especially after Laporta too. Like that's one that doesn't make. I know that this offense is going to be better, but like that's a pretty damn big discrepancy there for guys who, at the very least, from a granular perspective, are really similar. Bets. Young rookie tight ends, good players.
100%. By the way, so Tobin is actually in our chat right now. He said, I think I may have y'all beat. So he's actually Greg Tobin 60. So we can take a look at his team after this. And then obviously, of course, head into the next draft.
I was thinking when you said 6, I thought it was going to be, I thought we were going to get this guy to come out of the woodworks and reveal himself.
Oh my
but
God,
he's number 7. He came in here and was like,
no, Tobin
got done.
Tobin was the 6th spot because I remember he when I was mentioning is Josh Allen's going to fall. He's like, damn it, man. I'm about to take him from my stack. Don't get your hopes up.
This is a good point. Rowan, you said, Ron, can you look at Clay's Ravens projections at some point? He still has them incredibly run heavy, and I think the inputs might be off. Just want your thoughts. I think the thing is, like, the reason I like Clay, it's not because I think that he's like the most spot on of all time, but he's just very conservative. My guesses would be that he's not really taking into account the coaching change. He's probably more so looking at the tendencies, like Lamar Jackson's career tendencies, Harbaugh's career tendencies, and I probably agree that he's too low there. But he's just trying to be as conservative as possible. But I agree, like 30th in dropbacks is probably a little bit off there.
That's a little
wild. I mean, he has them low. I'm gonna share the screen in a second.
I'm assuming the number 1 and 2 are the Bears and the Falcons.
I'd guess so. It's actually, right. I mean, he at least stays true to Lamar's touchdown rate here, where they're 30th in dropbacks but 10th in passing touchdowns, which is pretty cool. But I like wide receiver 55 for OBJ, wide receiver 56 for Zay Flowers, 70 for Bateman. I agree. There's definitely, like, Clay isn't perfect and there's definitely flaws. I just look at it from a perspective of like, it's really more so that like the offense could really, even if nothing goes correctly in this offense, like Mark Andrews still, I mean, like pays off pretty well is kind of the takeaways here of sort of what you can look at. And, but yeah, I agree. It's not perfect. This probably is wrong. But I mean, he's been doing it forever, and I guess he's not as bought in. I would be curious to know. I mean, they're first in attempts. I wonder if they are on a per play volume basis, like because of the tempo is going to go up. I wonder if he juiced that up at all in terms of like plays ran, but it's tough to say.
For what it's worth, he also has OBJ projected for 13 games and the other two wide receivers projected for 15. So that's probably the divide there as well. By the way, so he thinks Odell Beckham's going to be like by far the wide receiver one there. He has him projected for 84 targets in 13 games versus 78 and 73 respectively from Flowers and Bateman from 15. So the market's going to disagree with that right off the bat because he's the third off the board out of the three wide receivers. And I personally would gear to the fact that I would bet on the first round rookie wide receiver or the former first round wide receiver that's shown ability to be a good player in this offense before over the wide receiver that's missed the last year and a half. So
yeah, exactly. Mike Clay's a projection guru, but like that doesn't mean I won't disagree with him in spots. Like I think that he's probably off base here. I don't think Odell Beckham leads the team outside of Andrews in targets, and I don't think 30th in dropbacks. I mean, for where I'm drafting these guys and how much I'm drafting these guys, like that would be an absolute nightmare.
I'm curious, where does he bake in like Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy calling plays? I am curious to see what he has for Dallas because I don't think the offense is going to change much, but I know a lot of people are thinking the contrary.
Yeah, exactly. Like I find it interesting. Like again, like I don't just look at these rankings and like or look at the projections and like just make my rankings off of them. It's really just like I was talking with Jacob about it, but it really is just like the boomer median. It's just like kind of like what is the base rate? It's almost like looking at like Vegas lines in a way.
It kind of feels like the 30th percentile outcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
where it's like just below like middle of the range. Like for example, like even like Dak throwing 20.
You guys 23rd.
Yeah, that's low for me. But I mean, like Dak throwing 26 and 13 when I want to see what the interception rate there is. 13 interceptions on 541. So he thinks last year's Dak interception rate is going to be closer to the mean than what he's done in his past, or not closer to the mean, but closer to what's going to happen rather than what he's shown in the past. So that's a little interesting.
I'd assume he has some kind of model that probably bakes into account like last year and then career and kind of blends them together.
Makes sense.
I do want to see Chargers. I imagine he has to have them, second in dropbacks, first in attempts. And if you guys are wondering why we're drafting Quentin Johnston, this is why. This right here is why. Second in dropbacks, first in attempts, sixth in passing yards, third in passing touchdowns. Like the volume is going to be there. You have efficiency at the QB position. When you can pencil in a quarterback for 30 touchdowns and over 600 attempts, like that's really all you need to be all in.
What's crazy too is when it comes to Herbert, I quickly want to mention this is we've seen the past few years him already have abnormal dropback rates. Like we saw last year, he had 699 pass attempts despite Keenan Allen and Mike Williams missing a collective 10, 11 games. Like if anybody's going to take the mantle from Brady and have like a 750 pass attempt year, my bet's going to be on Justin Herbert.
Yeah, the volume is there. Is the defense? I mean, I'm like, the defense is always like it's a defensive coach, and like the defense always looks good, but they always like aren't great. Like I know Eric Kendricks, I recognize. I think like Bosa, of course. Asante Samuel Jr. is nice. Derwin. They are playing against a tough division though. Tough schedule too.
That's the thing. By the way, quick note on Herbert. So we know he missed the first 2 games of his rookie season because Tyrod Taylor was starting. Obviously, we know the deal. The surgeon stabs him in the lung, and I mean, rest is history when it comes to Herbert. But he still threw the ball 595 times that year in 15 games as a rookie quarterback. 2 years ago,
he probably just about flirted with 30 touchdowns too.
31.
Right?
31. 31.
Like,
2 years ago, when he was the quarterback 2 in fantasy, had 672 pass attempts, 38 touchdowns. Last year had 699 pass attempts, only 25 touchdowns. You tell me what the outlier is there.
Yeah, man. The discount we're getting on him is so nice, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts right now. Drake London just went for a 2024 early to mid second. Brandon Cooks and AJ Dillon in my league. Oh my god. Question I have is if that was the going rate for Drake London, why didn't you inquire?
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna get us into the second one here. If anybody wants to hop in, you can. If anybody is like just popping into the stream, we're running up a couple Best Ball Mania drafts here. We have 7 spots open if you want to hop in. Use promo code Ron. I have a link in the description. I believe there's a link pinned in the live chat. I'm not 100% sure. And in the comment section down below, you click it. It takes you to Underdog. You use the promo code Ron. You get your deposit match up to $100. And you can hop in some Underdog Best Ball drafts with me and Danny while we sort of just chop it up, hang out on this. What is it? Friday today?
Yeah, Friday Friday. Beautiful Friday. By the way, funny note from Bill Byers. Yeah, Ron is like focused, discuss. I'm kind of like a loose cannon sometimes. Like, I mean, I was talking about this with my buddy. I'm kind of a loose cannon where if something crosses my mind, I just like vocalizing it. So appreciate you for keeping me in check at times.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Yeah. Also later, I was tweeting about it, but going to see Shane Gillis at
Let's go.
like this like auditorium in Newark. The freaking dude, Newark. Like people, that's the issue. Dude, when people think of New Jersey, dude, Newark is a dump. I'm gonna say Newark is a dump, but everywhere else is pretty nice, man. Everywhere else is pretty damn nice. It's a pretty beautiful spot, Jersey. The shore is nice. It's right next to the city.
Dude,
forests.
Next time me and Corey take a trip down to the States, though, hopefully we can get to New Jersey next summer. But we definitely got to check out a comedy show because I know Corey was begging to go on when we went to Brooklyn last year. And I know, I mean, you guys have talked a lot of comedy stuff in the DMs before he said so. That'd be a lot of fun.
I'm a huge. I love. I've gone like once. I've been to the stand once in New York, and it was sweet. It's crazy because like you can have your favorite comedians and you can only like really get their advanced schedule for their tour dates. But like when they go up and do like I know he loves Norman. Norman will do like 6 spots in a single night in New York and not promote any of them because he's just working on material. So like you have to plan it. So like you come to New York and then you pretty much have to go to like every major comedies shows like site and like maybe sort of figure out like, is Norman performing tonight? Like it's crazy because they're like just like they're gonna sell those places out anyways because of the the prestige. So it's tough to see your favorite comedian in New York unless it's like you're really on top of it.
Amen. I'll quickly mention a story when I went to go see JID because you see the little bandana here. But Bijan Robinson 102. That's the first time I've seen that. I will say it right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw Chess Liam Murphy and overzet. They did a Best Ball After Dark stream last night, and they're sort of talking through that. Like, and Pete made a great point. Like, when we talk about just like players with like the highest floor in the first round, it's Jefferson, it's Chase, and it's probably Bijan in terms of just like projectable floor of like not being past the age cliff and like having everything sort of baked in. And they were saying, I mean, like, you can take him 3rd overall and get some unique combinations here that you can't really get access to around where he goes. Now,
agreed. And I'm running up to the podium. You know who I want.
You want Diggs?
Oh yeah, Stephon Diggs, 7th overall, injected in my veins. 4th overall player, falling to 7. But I do agree with that point because, like, I would say out of the entire first round, given the age cliff, given some volatilities, given potential offensive output, Jefferson, Chase, Bijan, and I would probably put Lamb in that discussion as well because I think assuming he's healthy, he's a pretty safe projection in that offense. But yeah, I mean, Travis Kelce's got his warts. He's an older tight end. Austin Eckler's got his warts. He's an older running back. Christian McCaffrey's got his warts. Injury-prone history. Injury-prone, but injury history. Elijah Mitchell in the fold there. Like, I would agree that those are probably the 4 safest projections in my opinion.
So. Yeah, if the market forced me to, and Bijan's ADP was like 105, like I'd probably take him there. Like, if I'm being honest. So like taking him, like when we get to just routinely take him at like 10, like it's so nice. And it's funny, man. Like I get so many, I'll talk about Bijan in a video. I get so many comments. Like my brother was roasting me when I showed him, he was looking through my redraft rankings the other day and he's like, dude, like, what the hell is Bijan doing at 106? He hasn't even played it down. It's like, dog, like that's it's not the entire thing, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just like if you wait for him to show it to you first and Bijan's then the 101 next year, then you can only get him 1 out of every 12 times that you randomly get the 1st overall pick. If you want to buy in early, it has to be right now.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree there. Quick question, a little bit more off topic, which fits with Bill Byers' comment earlier, but this is an interesting question from Kennifer. What's the biggest fantasy clutch moment you've ever had in your home league? And I'll still remember one of the biggest clutches I had to this day was, do you remember a couple years ago when Lamar Jackson was on Monday Night Football against the Chiefs and he had like 38 points?
I do recall, but we are on the clock.
Okay.
Do you have any leans here?
I mean, if you want to, I feel like Saquon might get pushed up to the first round. So if you want to get some exposure in the second, I don't mind it there. But my highest rated player would be Pollard.
Yeah, me too. And I probably have Pollard over Saquon in a vacuum, but I haven't, like, I kind of like eased off of Saquon was here. And then like I wasn't blasting off in drafts when we had like the FOMO or the FUD from like him, holding out or whatever. So I didn't really get to, I got a couple teams where he fell here, but yeah, starting to get a little bit more Saquon back in the mix. But you were saying Lamar, like 38 points versus the Chiefs. I do recall that game. Did the Ravens win that game?
The Ravens, I think, won by like 1 point because Lamar just went nuclear.
Yeah.
I was down.
Was that his MVP year, or was it like maybe the year after?
2 years after. I think it was 2021, I believe, because I was in
Guelph
for that.
That was probably like the when they played the Titans in the playoffs and they lost to them. Like the Ravens were a wagon that year.
Around that time, yeah. Because when they played the Chiefs, it was when Marquise Brown was like left uncovered. He had a long touchdown. Like I think he had 2 touchdowns. Mark Andrews had a good game. Lamar ran for like 80 plus yards in a touchdown as well. So he scored 38, I think, on that game. And I was down like 36 going into the week with only Lamar left. And he just completely soloed and won me that game on Monday Night Football. I will never forget that. In terms of dud, the flip side, oddly enough, is a couple years ago, it was Amari Cooper against the Eagles. I needed him to score 4 PPR points. And he had like 2.5.
Yeah.
So
I remember that. I remember Amari, like some of Amari's dud games on the Cowboys.
Oh yeah.
Or that's just kind of how Amari was with the Raiders and the Cowboys. He was somebody I bet on. Like I was burned early on by Amari Cooper and Sammy Watkins.
Oh yeah.
Sammy Watkins on the Bills, man. I was a young kid and I was just like, man, like this dude, he was so good, man. Like that dude, I think like his second year, he had like almost like 900 yards and like 8 touchdowns. It was so good.
So much fun. By the way, I'm not gonna lie. This is gonna sound like an outsider. I don't want to say outsider. It's gonna sound like a hot take, but I actually really like what Homer's doing to get unique there. Bijan at 2, taking Ridley a little bit early. Jahmyr Gibbs. I understand on the surface level, you're reaching on every single one of those picks, but what combination is going to get all 3 of those guys together at this current point?
I'm trying to think. I will say, man, I think Gibbs. I think
Gibbs a little early, but the other 2 I like.
Think because the way where my head goes is if I take Bijan here, I can get Ridley here sometimes and then wrap back around and get Gibbs here sometimes.
That's fair. And then you would have an extra 3rd round player to play with, or an earlier 4th. Yeah, I get it.
You got a preference here?
I mean, my vote would probably still be one of those running backs. I'll let you choose which running back you like the most. Because again, we just went through the fact that maybe Breece falls in some of these rooms. So maybe you prefer Stevenson or Jacobs, but I'll let you make the pick.
I haven't been taking a lot of Stevenson just because he's like, I probably in a vacuum have him. I have him in the same tier as Jacobs, like these guys here, but he always goes ahead of them. So I'm always just, taking Jacobs or Breece later. But he was somebody I was taking a lot more early on because he was kind of like priced behind Jacobs. Like Jacobs was a little bit more here before the contract stuff, but Stevenson's all right by me. The issue I have with him is, I don't know. It's tough to see. I had a video early in the offseason where I was really excited about him. And I am because he's a unique skill set where, he's like this huge back that can catch passes. And he's explosive and he can maybe be kind of like a Najee with some juice. But it is also tough to see him get as much volume as we need on the Patriots.
We got a wild football in the we got a wild football stock in the chat looking for a link. So get that over.
All right, let me get him. Let me get him one.
Let's go.
Let me get him one. I will say I probably should have set this up. Like it would have been funny. Like if Bush was here, I didn't have this set up with a 3rd screen, but I think I'll be able to sort of MacGyver a nice little screen in here for Corey.
Let's go. One time I needed like 4.5 from Brady and he gave me 3.7 because of a Hail Mary. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yo, another.
Those are bad. Those like the hook and ladders and like you lose to a defense that gets like a touchdown on a hook and ladder, like 2 seconds left.
That reminds me of a couple years ago. One of my friends was like up, I think 1 point or something like that. Maybe even less, like 0.5 late in the game. Right. Or whatever the case was. It was like a 2-yard quarterback kneel, and they did 3 of them. And he lost a matchup by like 0.1 because of that, because they did 3 quarterback kneels, and his quarterback got negative rushing yards.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it was probably the craziest beat I've ever seen.
All right, so we're on the clock. Who's available? You got Etienne, London, Mixon.
I don't want to start 3 running backs. It would be Etienne, but
I kind of like. I think we go Etienne and just cut it off at like 3 or 4.
High T, baby.
Yeah, high T, man.
Let's go.
Between workout sex, we got Bush. I'm taking that without asking Bush's input. Let's add him to the stream.
He would say the same thing.
Oh, that's not quite what I want. Hold on. Let me add Bush. Hang in there, brother. I got a. Oh, there he is.
We were talking about how high T the draft room was, and then where the high T bros in this one.
Am I in the stream or no?
I hear you now.
No, you're about to be. You're about to be.
Am I the voice of God right now?
Yeah, you literally are.
You're just hidden. Everybody just hears your voice.
Also, I would have been cool with that selection because I'm pretty sure I have more ETN than both of you combined.
Oh, I would fight that. How much ETN you got?
21%.
21.3%. Kiss it.
All right, I'll be honest with you, boys. Like, I don't have a 3-person setup just yet, so this is what we're rocking right now.
Why am I getting baby Boyd in the chat right now?
He's so small. You can see the draft board now, but he's so tiny at the top.
No, that's great.
That's devastating.
He literally looks like God right now in the middle.
He's just the overseer.
Facts.
Yeah. So are we just going hyper fragile this draft or what? What's going on?
We're going hyper testosterone.
Dude, T levels are immaculate.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my farms to come in as we speak.
Hey, you missed the last draft. There was a guy in the 6 hole that started 5 running backs out of his first 6 picks.
Yeah, and he sniped our Jake Ferguson. So
he sniped our
tone setting.
Facts.
We're
talking about the fact the guy had 4 plates loaded up on the barbell, just ripped a set, looked at his screen, got the draft as Joe Mixon in the 4th round, and just that was the dopamine he needed, you know?
Is that a line of coke or smelling salts?
Smelling salts.
Some guy commented on my video today that he's like, you for sure do coke. I think it's because I talk fast sometimes, dude. Like it's I used to get accused all the time of like being on Adderall when I would record. Really? I would talk pretty fast.
I had a screenshot compilation of a bunch of comments that I collected and put into like a little collage that all said like, when do you take a breath? Like you talk so fast. I listened to like all my podcasts on 1.5 speed except for this one.
Is there?
Yeah, I have that same issue. I think I've gotten a little bit better at pacing myself, but
we're some
like
sickos,
early on, I would just be talking so fast. I have to say, I don't like anything on the board. This is a wide receiver sicko room that we're kind of in here.
Yeah,
we got any. By the way, JSN's going to be a 5th round pick in a few weeks. Just everybody take that mental note because he's going in the 6th round, but he's going to be a 5th very soon.
Is this
a Deontay league mate right there? If you ask me,
is this a Deontay Johnston team?
I just got a notification that Deontay got carted off on Sleeper.
Yeah, I did also.
Everyone keeps getting carted off.
Yeah.
Oh my!
It's.
Well, I mean, good thing you're actually checking your phone, bro.
For what it's worth, like, doesn't Deontay get carted off once a week?
Yeah,
it feels like
could go him.
Marquise is not bad either. I feel like we need to take a wide receiver here, otherwise we're going to be facing a gauntlet.
Yeah. All right. You guys have a lean between. I'm cool taking Deontay.
I think I'd probably go Marquise just because.
Let's go Marquise. He's the same guy, and it's he didn't just get carted off the field. So.
Yeah, but I like having the backdoor Kyler Murray stack available. If we go with like an earlier quarterback here, like a who do we have as the option? I guess we're not going to get Allen, but if we could grab like a Watson or Lawrence or somebody like that, and then grab Kyler as the other one, I like getting those. If I'm going to do a 2 QB build, I like having Kyler as my second one with an elite guy.
I was going to ask that. It seems like you guys both like Kyler in redrafts.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like a ton of them.
Yeah, most of the like space in the market kind of is convinced that he's going to miss like 6 or more games. And when I had Dr. Edwin Porras on our channel, he's like, I think it's way more likely he plays week 1 than it is he misses like 8-10 games like some people are thinking. Like I think a lot of people just assume because we're like fantasy bros all in our spreadsheets and like we have never played a down of football, at least maybe not in the last 5 years in Danny's case. Yeah. Like, do we forget that it's like this guy's a competitor? He won at every level. He's going to want to be on the field. He's not going to want to watch his team lose like 13 games this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. By the way,
I agree.
Bush, you missed it. We got into a whole Mechie conversation in the last draft, and then he got sniped a pick before us.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Danny was standing bad profile John Mechie, I'm assuming.
Second round pick John Mechie, that's literally free right now.
Yeah.
His college profile is not terrible. I was making the link that he's not all that different from a spreadsheet standpoint from like Marvin Mims as like a smaller early declare, like kind of mid stats, but nothing too exciting, I guess.
Yeah, mid athlete, unlike Mims though.
Yeah, that's the issue. He didn't test, but I agree.
I would imagine he would have ran in the high 4.5s at the best case scenario.
Quick question,
you guys,
lads.
Do you like what's up?
Do you think if we take a tight end here, we're gonna fall 2 behind the wide receiver 8 ball?
I think we
could afford a tight end.
Evans here. We're screwed. A wide receiver.
Go Evans or Dotson.
Go Evans.
Yeah.
Let's go Evans.
I'm down.
Bush, are we drafting any of these Tampa Bay wide receivers? Because Josh Norris has been shaming me, and Jacob Sanderson's been shaming me, dude. Like I've had to keep on pushing down my Evans exposure. My Evans exposure, he was like my 3rd highest drafted wide receiver at one point. He's now like probably like my 8th or 9th.
By the way, nothing like Jacob just bullying you on Mike Evans and Nick Chubb.
Dude, Jacob, dude, I disclosed to the public a very vulnerable moment that I had Clyde Edwards-Helaire as my most drafted player, and I was berated for it.
Dude, I kind of cooked you for that too.
No, everyone cooked me, but he's now my 2nd highest drafted player. He's moving down the list.
Hey, with that being said, I have 10.7% Clyde right now, so I can't even talk shit.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever once said a positive thing about Clyde Edwards-Helaire in my life, and I think I have like 8% Clyde Edwards-Helaire right now.
Yeah,
I think I've legit had Clyde as like I've never like he's like the juju of running backs for us. It's like we're just never gonna draft the guy, pretty much. Yeah. To your Buccaneers point, I have Godwin as the guy that I'm targeting of the 2 wide receivers because Godwin is the guy that is like the over the middle easy targets. And I think if these quarterbacks are like low ADOT struggling to get the ball downfield, it's probably Godwin that eats targets up. Plus Godwin, I mean, the guy's legit been like a top 15 receiver for the last 4 years in points per game. And he played on one leg last year. And it was pretty obvious. I think we forget with Godwin that like back in 2019, like he was Debo and AJ Brown before Debo and AJ Brown. Like he was the bully style, like yards after catch guy in that breakout season. And he kind of just, he dealt with hamstring injuries in 2020. He had obviously the ACL tear at the end of 2021. And then last year, he just like fully wasn't healthy. So if we get anything close to a healthy Chris Godwin and Baker Mayfield's functional, then I think he could have like a steady like win rate coming out of like the 5th round with like a 25% target share.
Well,
I don't mind them either.
Like I get his raw targets are going to go down, which people are going to argue, but even back in 2019, he still had 120 targets and he produced 1,300 receiving yards. Like he's going to be that efficient, like Corey said, bully.
Assuming he's healthy, yeah, because he hasn't been efficient the past couple of years, but he's been dealing with a lot of nicks every year. He's had hammy issues and stuff. Hopefully he doesn't. I mean, maybe that doesn't change, but if he does, squeak out a healthy season, he could definitely be more explosive.
Yep.
So we have a couple options here. We can go, if you want, we can go Goddard to go like Arizona, Philly. We could go Burks. We can go further down than that if you want to reach on like Elijah.
Now, we could also Rachaad and end it at running back.
We could. I was thinking maybe
that seems a little over-investy though. I think my vote would be Burks personally.
What about Deshaun and then Eli Moore on the wraparound and maybe close out tight end with David Njoku and like a round 12 guy?
Make the call.
Let's go Burks. Let's go Burks. I'll just pony up and make the call. I didn't hate it. I've gotten burned a decent chunk trying to push Elijah Moore past the turn. Like really, like to be honest with you, like also if I'm like here, I'll try and like make it happen, but it's tough. I think it's tough because I was gonna say maybe you could push the quarterback, but there's teams without a quarterback here. I don't know. This could all be funny if we come back around and Elijah Moore's there.
Yeah.
But
I mean, who knows? See. I mean, Deshaun Watson just went, so that guy's definitely going for the Watson and Eli.
Yeah, this is probably where I'd be going for it as well.
Makes sense. Also, by the way, last draft, Corey, got David Montgomery, 13 picks after ADP.
That's not bad. I think one thing that's a little underrated is like, I mean, if you guys are DFS players listening to this, I'm sure you guys know that like some people get contrarian with their stacking. And
there's Elijah Moore.
Yeah, there goes Elijah Moore. Some people get contrarian with their stacking, and because this tournament is essentially like 3 DFS tournaments in a row once you advance, I'm surprised more people aren't, investing in like quote unquote like shitty offensive players like Marquise tied to like the Cardinals and like Evans tied to the Buccaneers, because like we know they're good receivers. They're in subpar offenses that we can't really stack up and feel excited about it. But I'm surprised more people don't try and play the contrarian argument when taking players like that.
It's also why I don't get so caught up. You have some guys that are like, of course we want the Chiefs Bengals game, but it's like I don't really care what the like week 17 game is. I just want the correlation. Anybody got a lean here? We like Bateman. Do we like Thomas?
I like Bateman personally. Yeah, I know you put out a short or something on Bateman the other day of why you like him. I think he is definitely somebody that could take a big time year 3 leap, because if we just like take his healthy games, it actually equals like a pretty solid rookie season from like, it was like a better rookie season like George Pickens and Treylon Burks had basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's my most drafted wide receiver right now.
Well, people are going to talk about the fact that, even when he was healthy last year, like his snap shares were bad. The usage wasn't really there, but he still had that elite, like efficient spike week potential. Like the first couple games, I'm pretty sure he had 15 PPR points and like 21 in the first 2 games before he started dealing with injuries. Like I get it. Like that was after the injury. Keep that in mind. I get it. People are worried, more target competition. Like Lamar's never been this 550 plus pass attempt type of passer, but if you're getting an efficient 3rd-year type of wide receiver that can potentially break out, assuming he's healthy, then 9th-round opportunity cost or 8th-round opportunity cost where we got him is definitely plausible. So
yeah, he low-key, like he looked good last year, man. On per route basis, he was good. He was like, I think he had like top 24 numbers in targets per out run and yards per out run. Like
he's top 18, I think, in the short that you put out. The other thing with Bateman too is if we just think like, I know Norris and those guys are big on just like 3 wide receiver set usage. Like Zay Flowers is a rookie wide receiver. As much as he's like tearing up camp and stuff like that right now, you have to imagine he's the guy on the bench in 2 wide receiver sets, at least to start the season. And Odell Beckham Jr., the guy's blown his ACL twice. He's like 30 years old. He could be solid, and I think he definitely helps these young wide receivers as far as like being a veteran presence in the room. But honestly, like Bateman taking a 3rd-year leap if it happens, it should be something that all of us should have been on. Like we're going to look back and be like, we had this like 1st-round wide receiver prospect that was a good prospect that was, injury prone his first 2 years. Just kind of similar to like Chris Godwin to some degree. And then he finally has the routes. He finally has the targets open and the schematic changes of Todd Monken coming in. It should have all been there for a Bateman breakout. And if it happens, I think some people are going to be kicking themselves for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I can't say I have any type of lean here. I don't know if you guys see anything that sticks out on the board.
Sorry, I was just reading Robert's comment. You need to legitimately come up with another word to use than legitimately. That is facts. I sometimes repeat similar words.
Okay, so
wait,
I don't
hate,
my pick would be Richardson.
I don't hate taking Richardson. I think that Tua is actually just a good enough value that we should be taking. I know like we don't have him stacked up. But
we did just get Baltimore though.
Yeah, we could stack up Baltimore.
Game.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And we could, I know it's like not a, heavy correlation thing, but just to get exposure to that offense, if it blows up, we could always take, running backs from that team too, right?
Yeah.
Round 18 chosen Anderson.
Yeah, I get pretty dusty with how many guys I star, man.
Don't kill me.
Do you have a lean in this backfield? Do you have a guy that you're taking most often in that Dolphins backfield?
I kind of just take whoever comes to me. But it would be A-Chain. I wish I had more A-Chain. I started mixing in a lot of A-Chain, and then I sort of just eased up and was like, oh, Dalvin Cook is coming. And then I've never kind of recalibrated and been like, man, I should really start taking A-Chain. But I don't have a huge read. I think Sanderson was trying to sell me on Jeff Wilson just because I don't know who it was I was talking to, but like Mostert and A-Chain have such similar skill sets. Maybe Wilson will always be a constant. So it's that was
overset for sure. I know that's his take.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it was.
Hear me out, guys. If Dak makes it back to us, we could always wrap around and build out a correlation with Gallup and close off our quarterback core.
Personally, I'd rather just bank on Tua and Kyler.
Right, Kyler. I forgot.
I feel like we should just grab Kyler later. That's a skinny QB build. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't love that 2 QB build for just Tua and Kyler, but I think if you're taking Kyler, you're kind of inherently making the bet that he's back before people think anyway. And if we get like a week 3 Kyler Murray, Tua can hold down the fort for 2 weeks until that point.
Agreed. What are your guys' thoughts on Nico Collins here then?
I like him as well.
Yeah, I don't mind Collins there. Do we have any minis that we can complete here? Do
Daniel Jones and insert Giants wide receiver in the 175 range?
I actually wouldn't hate Daniel. Like I'd probably lean towards a 3 QB build if we go Kyler.
Agreed.
Just without having like if we had an elite like a
Herbert plus.
Herbert, whatever.
I know
probably would
Tua's a little weak on the elite status, but especially
go
unstacked.
DJ, Nico. I mean, like I wouldn't call it correlation, but Damian Harris with our Diggs, Juju on the other side of that Diggs game.
I think we should go Daniel Jones here. I think that makes a lot
I
of
agree.
sense.
I like it.
And he's easy to stack. Like
Yeah, like he's the only quarterback with all of his receivers going outside like the top like 150 overall ADP players. So
it's actually hilarious that no matter what, if you take Daniel Jones, you will find a way to correlate him.
Do you have a lean in that receiver core? Because that's another one that like
Hodgins.
there might be a guy that sticks out as somebody that was better than the rest.
I like Hodgins and Slayton. Those are the two guys I'm taking, and then taking some shots on Hyatt. Like I know the reports are pretty rough with him, but like rookie wide receiver reports, I tend to just be like, I don't really care. But he does have a skill set I think you guys would know a little bit better in terms of like on the field where he probably has a steep learning curve in terms of like, becoming an NFL wide receiver. But he does seem like a guy that like he does give me some Amon-Ra St. Brown vibes where he could just like suck out the gate. And then like, obviously I'm not saying like 20 points per game the last 8 weeks, but a guy who could come alive down the stretch and be, usable.
Better in best ball type of guy where maybe down the stretch he catches four deep bombs in weeks 11 to 17.
I think the dynamic of that receiver core is really strange because I think you have duplicates everywhere, right? Like you have Paris Campbell and Wan'Dale Robinson. Paris Campbell, for what it's worth, is on 8.6% of my teams. He's the one that I've drafted the most out of this group because I expect Wan'Dale to be back later in the season. And the way that I've built out a lot of my teams, I've had rookie wide receivers and guys that I think are going to scale production as the season goes along. So Paris Campbell's been kind of a way for me to get some early production on the cheap. I actually really like Paris Campbell the most, but then Darius Slayton and Jalen Hyatt, you figure kind of play the same role as well. Maybe Slayton's there the early time of the season. There's also a wild card Sterling Shepard who might actually be the best receiver on that team if he's 100% healthy. And then Isaiah Hodgins maybe is the one constant where he's the outside guy no matter what. But how good is he? So for me, I don't know. For me, I've been taking a lot of Paris Campbell and Darius Slayton, but I see the path for like Hyatt, Wan'Dale late in the season to be guys that could win, in those late season pushes, and then Hodgins is the guy that might just be the constant.
Yeah, like for me, for what it's worth with Hodgins, he's actually my highest rostered of any Giants right now. Oddly enough, 5.3%, which kind of goes to show you how little I've been drafting the Giants. But I've been grabbing a good amount of Isaiah Hodgins because I do think he's the best wide receiver in that core, and he's got more inside-outside versatility compared to the rest of the core. Because Paris Campbell's probably only going to be a slot guy. Jalen Hyatt's probably only going to be an outside guy, and then of course they have 3 or 4 other slot wide receivers with Shepard, with Wan'Dale, etc. on the team. The only other guy that I think can probably just be that.
Should we grab Kincaid here? Potentially. Sorry to cut you off.
I was going to say. I was
Damian Harris is still there too. I didn't even see his name.
Past ADP, he correlates with Rhamondre and Diggs. Like, and we can just call it a day. Here. Yeah, we call it a day at running back and live to see another day. But you were saying what there, Danny?
Well, I feel like Isaiah Hodgins has the most inside-outside versatility of that entire core. He's probably going to be a mostly outside wide receiver, but I feel like Darius Slayton and Jalen Hyatt kind of overlap in terms of their skill sets, and Paris Campbell, Wan'Dale, Sterling Shepard kind of overlap with their skill sets. Even
Waller's going to get some slot. I think Waller's going to play a lot of big slot in that offense too, man. I've heard. I think we had a 33rd team, a guy that I follow on Twitter that I like. I can't remember pronounce his last name, but his name's like Daniel. He's like a Giants fan. Daniel Rax, I think. And he's been boots on the ground at like their camp and stuff. They're saying he's saying that he's been seeing a lot of Waller red zone like slot usage, which I think probably makes a lot of sense.
Yep. No,
it's like a big wide. He's like probably their best and biggest wide receiver, which is pretty funny.
Apparently, Burrow's going to miss several weeks, according to Ari on Twitter.
Wait a
At
damn
least it's
minute.
a calf strain. At least it's a calf strain. Hopefully,
yeah, it looked like an Achilles tear. I'm not going to lie.
I thought so too.
We got Bloody Sunday in here.
Let's go, big OG.
What's going on, brother?
Shout out. Let's go.
All right, what do we got here at what do we have 5 receivers on this team right now?
Yeah, we got 5 wide receivers.
That's pretty yikes. But I think Kincaid has to be our pick here if he falls, right?
100%.
I'm cool with Kincaid.
Our Josh Allen-less Bill stack is looking pretty decent.
We're kind of if we miss on you want to go Kincaid?
Yeah, I think we have to go Kincaid. Are you about to suggest a Mac Jones back?
I knew he was going to say
that's exactly what was on my mind. That's exactly where I was going. If we miss on Kyler, like Mac Jones is right there.
Are we pairing him with a quick Devontae Parker in round 17?
Did you guys see that clip that was going around that was like who has the best like highlight reel that's never made a Pro Bowl or whatever, or All-Star team? And like somebody was like, dude, Devontae Parker would make you feel things. It was just like him. I mean, Devontae Parker is like, we have Mike Williams at home. Like he's kind of the same dude.
Dude, Devontae Parker is like an OG FSE staple. We fucking loved him a couple years ago. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, he was a guy that was his I mean, like he was interesting. Like, coming out of school, he was a good prospect. Like, I don't know. It was just like those Miami teams were weird. Who was that one guy as well? He came up. I don't know why he came across my mind the other day. But who was the guy who was
Preston Williams?
Preston Williams, like the UDFA that was like good for like one singular stretch.
It was like like a preseason darling that I think actually flashed something in the regular season, and then he like got hurt or something like that, and then everybody was all confused by him. Yeah.
He's still just 26.
Quick note on Preston for what it's worth. He had 60 targets in the first 8 games of 2019 as a rookie.
That's pretty solid.
Where did that come from? He was
electric.
Was that a Fitzmagic year? Was that the Fitzmagic year?
2019. It might have been. Yeah,
because the year before Tua. They had Tua in 2020, so they picked him.
That is wild, man. Wow.
Yeah, that Jalen Ramsey report is brutal. I mean, we don't celebrate injuries, of course, but in AFC East, a little bit lighter without Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, X Howard was burnt toast last year, so hopefully Garrett Wilson, Steph Diggs, and company can get them work done. I would name a Patriots receiver that matters, but there isn't any. So
yeah, and somehow Xavier Howard made it over. I think he made it over DJ Reed for Pro Bowl, which is just nonsense. Real ones know DJ Reed was nice last year.
DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner were the best cornerback duo in the entire league last year by far.
Yeah. 100%. You're preaching to the choir.
Hey, Buccaneers, Jets, underrated cornerback duos.
Do you guys even have like Sean Murphy bunting?
No. He's shit. Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis sneakily both like top 50.
No, you're right. Yeah,
corners in the NFL.
Those are guys that I recognize. I don't know. Sean Murphy bunting is just such a funny name.
Bad. He's good ball, like he's good at taking the ball away, but he literally gets burnt in coverage like constantly.
Is this where we get our Gerald Everett, by the way, Ron, after we got sniped in last draft?
I don't know if this has to be Everett here.
We have to take a receiver here, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love Mingo if he's
yeah, I think we got to take some swings here.
Miss me on Osborne. Like,
oh, fuck that.
We were talking in the first draft, Corey, that like there's a chance that Jalen Naylor is out there for 3 wide receiver sets and not Osborne. Like that's an outcome that is not all that crazy.
Well, the thing with Osborne too is that he was so much cheaper like a month ago, and now he rose, and now he's like losing ADP again. You know what I mean? Like he was like literally like a round 16 guy, like literally a month ago.
He's a fun random spike week guy, but like, I mean, and like it just has to be the Kirk drafters that just keep taking him where his ADP like dictates. Like, I can't fathom it.
Yeah, no, I feel
you know what I have a theory about.
What do you got?
Guys like KJ Osborne and like years past, it was like Nelson Aguilar types, like guys that had good spike weeks last year, like and posted good win rates because of it. They're like never going to repeat year over year. Like chasing last year's good spike week guys that were like random dart throws. It's such a bad idea to chase the same guy again. Like you're better off trying to predict, your Rashid.
You know who kind of reminds me of that?
Maybe to do it this year or something like that. Like
8th round Zay Flowers, or not Zay Flowers. Damn it! Where's Zay Jones? 10th round Zay Jones. Feels a little bit like that.
Yeah, exactly. Zay Jones, a perfect example.
Do we have any leans here? We could take another wide receiver.
I like DPJ here.
Yeah, I'm coming around on DPJ, man.
We can back for a Bryce too if we wanted to take Chark here.
Yeah, I like Chark. I like Chark a lot.
I prefer DPJ personally. We also do we have a Jet or no?
We do have Mingo already.
We have Carolina, yeah. We can go DPJ.
I want DPJ because we already had Mingo there. Not that it like, I mean, you can in theory say Chark gives you some points up top, and then yeah, exactly. But it's all good. Dude,
is Kyler gone, by the way? Is Kyler gone?
Yeah, he went right before this pick.
Fuck.
Yeah,
that would have been the pick.
Yeah, I agree. If we take Mingo and we come back, it would have been Kyler.
I'm starting to see Kyler creep up again because, again, when I first started doing these drafts, we were talking about in the last draft room, but he was consistently going round 15, round 16, like 3 weeks ago. And now he's going way higher.
On
I have to say,
on the Fantasy Life ADP thing where it shows you like where you got the player at ADP. I think most of my Kyler shares came in May when I went to Quebec. So my Kyler exposure is like 186 ADP.
yeah, that's great.
Like that.
How do you,
I remember him being like here, like 167, but like now he's like this guy actually might have got him as a decent little discount here. I could be wrong.
Oh yeah, you got him like 13 picks
Is
past
Bryce
ADP.
still on the board?
Yeah, damn, 149 here. Bryce should be. Dude, quarterbacks are flying. Yeah, he's on the board.
Yeah, we might need to prioritize him. We also only have one tight end, and it's a rookie too, which is not ideal. I mean, Hayden Hurst is an easy place for us to get with Bryce Young too.
Well, I mean, we're already closed off at running back. We probably need maybe one more wide receiver. So the last picks are going to be.
Yeah, we can go like 3, 4, 9, 3 here. Unless if I'm doing my math wrong. 3, 4, 8, 3.
Yeah. I like it.
I was gonna say like 3 running backs here like is pretty tough, but like when you start with Diggs, like it's nice having a nice like anchor up on the top of your wide receiver. You know,
I would consider all of those running backs good values too. Like I think 2.6 Barkley, 3.7 Rhamondre, and 4.6 Etienne is like a solid 3 to 5 picks after where I have them ranked.
You guys want to get ballsy and try and see if we can get Chark and pair him with Young as well when he comes back. I mean, all of these teams, I mean, 2, 3, I mean, all of them have 2+ QBs.
I think we probably go Chark here and have him fall back. We also could go with like a Hodgins because we have Daniel Jones.
That's what I was gonna say. Why not just wait and take like the cheapest of the Giants wide receivers and make sure we get Bryce?
That's actually a good point because we can go Hurst as our third tight end, so maybe we don't go with a Panthers pass catcher here.
Yeah, all right, so we want to go Young.
Yeah,
let's go Young.
Just get him.
Who else is available at tight end on the board?
I like the Hurst call.
Knox isn't terrible. Oh, we have Kincaid, right?
Kincaid.
We have Kincaid, right? Jasicki's not terrible either because I mean you're still getting that Bills Patriots game stack.
Yeah, I don't Liam Murphy and Corain went at it the other day for like an hour over Dalton Kincaid. Liam Murphy has 50% Dalton Kincaid exposure this year.
Wow,
50%, and he's playing high volume.
Drafts?
Volume, dude. Volume.
We're talking like 800 in entry.
Probably more
like a lot, dude.
Like we're talking like 800 plus in entry fees.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, he's doing 555s on DK and stuff too. I'm sure he's got a shit ton of kick. Like, I think the the premise is there. It makes sense why you're doing that because just because like a rookie tight end hasn't been, elite over the past couple of years doesn't mean that like a rookie tight end can't give you good spike weeks. Like imagine you drop rookie year Pat Freiermuth on the Buffalo Bills offense. How much better for his for best ball is he than he was in Pittsburgh with a fucking washed up Ben Roethlisberger that year? And I mean, I don't know if I love the whole like, oh, he's going to play in the slot argument for why people are like in on Kincaid. I'd actually prefer my tight ends to play in line and like be a tight end as they were drafted. But I do think it's possible that he's the second best pass catcher on his team. And he's an older prospect, maybe it bridges the gap between, his transition to the NFL. I don't know.
Hodgins
I'm just spitballing here.
Chark.
Yeah, that is actually rough. With that being said, I feel like we had
Parker?
to scoop it up.
You get Parker on the back end, or we could like reach like
we could mini DPJ and Conklin as well.
I don't mind that. Yeah, because
I actually love Conklin. He's one of my favorite like third tight ends or whatever. Because I'm not really in on like Kelsey and even Andrews to some degree. Like the one tight end that I've been drafting a lot early has been Kittle. But other than those guys, like I'm building a shit ton of 3 tight end builds. And ironically too, I broke down some strategy like a couple months ago, and Josh Lee from the Undroppables, he posted like the roster constructions, I think, of like the highest advance rate teams. And I think advance rate more so than any other year matters more this year because the regular season prize is bigger. And also, I think, my philosophy is like, I just want bullets in the chamber. It's pretty much all luck after that anyway. So I'm not really too worried about like, not having the perfect correlation or whatever. I'm like, it's mainly luck. Yeah. Correlation can help you if you're right on stuff. But basically the article that he posted, 4 of the top 5 highest win rate builds had 3 or more tight ends, which I thought was pretty crazy. And if you're not getting a Travis Kelce legendary season out of one of them, whatever tight end it ends up being, I think it's pretty difficult to say that going 2 tight ends and leaving yourself at a disadvantage with like Dalton Schultz and, Noah Fant or whatever, some of the 2 tight end builds that people are doing. Like, I think you have to treat it as a starting position still, and it also can work into your flex anyway. So I'd rather be over volume on tight end than I would be under.
I think that's such a key point, by the way. People are so like, oh, I don't want to take a gross tight end. What's the difference in Tyler Conklin's outlook this year versus Khalil Shakir versus Mecole Hardman versus Richie James? Those are guys you're hoping make your flex. If Tyler Conklin projects similar to them, then you're still getting the benefit out of more volatile position with tight end that he can work into your lineup, and he still produces flex appeal as well, if not better than a lot of those guys we just mentioned. So yeah, no, I definitely agree. Round 16 Conklin, I'm in on there. A guy like Hayden Hurst, we kind of mentioned as well. If they're working in and they're getting involvement in what could be potentially concentrated offenses, I am.
Dude, I love a lot of these guys.
Dude, Richie James
Henry,
and Clyde Edwards
Mayer.
The guys that just went off the board might actually be on the field 20% of the time, legitimately.
Yeah.
Like, and
No,
Hayden Hurst is going to be the starting tight end.
Yeah, give me Hurst. I will say,
I sent a DM that was just. I keep referencing this picture. I don't know if it's the one you were talking about, but it shows like roster construction over expectation. I keep looking at it like if I have a slow draft and I'm like 15 picks through or like 14 picks through, I'm like, where is this going to end up? I kind of just look through this chart and I'm just like, it kind of fits this one, and I'll just like name it that.
Yeah, I respect.
Yeah,
it.
what is that? 5 of the 6 top roster constructions were 3 or more tight ends, right?
I've been way more open ever since seeing this chart. I've been way more open to going 3 onesies. Like I used to think I think I used to push it too much. And Overzet's kind of been talking to it. The 3 quarterback builds aren't amazing on this chart, but he did come up with a good point where I think you're right, Corey. Where like 3 tight ends is good for the advance rates, and I think also 3 quarterbacks is good for the like week 17 stuff. So it's a nice like balance of both. Where if you miss out on an elite quarterback, you can sort of get an edge on them by having access to 3 game stacks or 3 different offenses to go off in those 3 final weeks.
Not to mention a third of the prize pool is literally in the regular season this year, which is different, which means we have to kind of adjust our strategy a little bit. And when I looked at last year, like my advance rate honestly wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. And most of my highest advance rate teams were, your Pat Freiermuth, Evan Ingram, and a dart throw on some other random tight end builds. And a lot of my I took Dalton Schultz and Noah Fant, and they were just dead teams because they didn't score any points for most of the regular season at the tight end position. So I'm starting to think like these guys can work into your flex. If worst case scenario, you have 2 top 10 tight ends, that's not going to be a bad thing. They're going to have spike weeks here and there. And when the projections at the end of the draft are shit anyway, like we're talking Hayden Hurst versus, Justin Ross, who might legitimately not make the team. It's possible that he doesn't make the team or is on practice squad the whole year. Like, give me a guy that's going to run 75% of his team's routes.
Yeah, I agree there. I quickly want to add Matt. Shout out for coming into the stream. Join late. How many bets has Bush made? If you don't know, Ron, this is an inside joke in our stream. Matt always comes in, asks Bush what bets he's making. So big shout out, Matt, for joining in. Also, my eye is watering.
Guy makes bets, apparently. Okay,
so what are we looking at here? Like, I'm cool with Slayton just to get something for Danny.
Are we
Dimes.
rolling completely naked Tua?
No, we can't. We can't. This probably has to be. Is this going to be chosen Barrios? What do you want to do?
Give me Barrios, to be honest.
I could see McDaniel liking Barrios, man. Like, people forget, like, LaFleur used the hell out of Barrios when he was on the Jets, dude. Like, he was having Barrios do like laterals where he would like throw it to him out in space and he would like lateral it to somebody. And he was like, the thing that would piss me off though is he would bring in Barrios on the fucking goal line and screw us over constantly. LaFleur, he'd do some gadget shit with Barrios on the goal line and like would kill us. Like, we probably, like, this is obviously a Jets fan. I'm talking about one singular game, but the Jets went into Minnesota. Would have won, but every time they made it down the field to the red zone, they just came up empty. It was like 4 straight, just like coming up empty on like the 1 yard line. And I think Mike White got hurt in that game too. It was freaking brutal. But yeah, my mom was actually at that game. Fun fact.
One of my biggest banks in a DFS small field was 2 years ago. I was writing articles for Draft Sharks just on like DraftKings plays and FanDuel plays for small field GPPs and stuff. And I had I think it was Zach Wilson's rookie year, I'm pretty sure. So I had a Zach Wilson, Braxton Berrios like mini stack or whatever, and it was like 0.1% owned in the small field. And Zach Wilson, it was the game that he rushed like a 70-yard touchdown, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, and I know that one.
That roster savings, because those guys were literally like min value or something. allowed me to get up to like the 2 running backs or the 2 wide receivers that were like studs for my lineup that week. And I ended up, I think I won like $500 in like a little small field GPP that week. It was kind of insane.
And now Berrios is like a celebrity. He's like dating, I think like Alex Earl, like one of those big.
Good for him, man.
He's out there in these Miami streets, man.
Dude,
apparently the Deontay injury was heat exhaustion.
Oh, there you go.
Quickly with Berrios, by the way, big shout out. If you don't know, a couple years ago, he was a first team All-Pro. If you guys do remember
as
that.
a special teamer.
Yeah. Don't quote me. I think it was first team. It might have been second team, but I believe he was actually first team All-Pro that year as a returner.
Ron, did you see my tweet that I put out an hour ago?
No,
I tweeted out like fantasy football YouTube video titles like in August be like, your buffoon league mates are too stupid to find these hidden gems in brackets. Seriously, their IQ is 0.
Dude, you should actually use that.
You put out like a dumb league mates video today.
Dude, people are giving me shit in the comments.
There was someone else who tweeted it too that I liked.
Yeah, Chris from Fantasy Endgame tweeted it. It's like, I see we're an idiot league mate time of year or something like that. I was like, that's great.
I backed off the idiot league mate until I saw people not named Nick Colato using the title. I said, hey, we're gonna if people are gonna be cashing on this, I'll hop in.
I think I'm gonna make a title that's just so unbelievably outrageous.
I think you literally should like unironically use that title. Like I think. Like something very similar to that. I think buffoon league mates, I think, would actually go crazy. Like,
hey, the target munchers, the idiots in your league aren't taking or something.
Yeah, you're fucking.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% just gonna get a thesaurus and just go through the word idiot synonyms on every single video.
Just be like your big fat unemployed friends know nothing about these 3 gems. Like
10 players the morons in your league don't know about.
Oh, here's a good one that I'm definitely going to use. I'm going to save this one up. Your bonehead league mates.
Yeah, that's actually a great one.
Your twit league mates.
Yeah.
Nitwit league mates.
Are we looking at the same screen?
Yeah.
5 players your 12 IQ brother likes in fantasy football.
Rowan, your stupid dumbass league mates. Hey, your stupid dumbass league mates love drafting these 5 dumb piece of shit players gone wrong. Oh my god. Oh, fucking hilarious.
All right, fellas. Bush, you're actually gonna be pretty psyched about this. I'm going to Shane Gillis's show tonight.
Nice.
At some auditorium in Newark, so that should be pretty sweet. I got to get ready soon. We'll see. I'm hoping whatever his opener is, I'm sort of familiar with him. We'll see. But I appreciate you guys coming on. I named the team.
Appreciate it.
I guess we can kind of go through it real quick. But we took 3 quarterbacks. We went Tua, Daniel Jones, Bryce Young. Pretty disgusting QB room, but we did get Tua a nice little discount. We got Saquon, Rhamondre, Etienne, Harris, Diggs, Marquise Brown, Mike Evans, Treylon Burks, Rachaad Bateman, Mingo, DPJ, Braxton Berrios, Kincaid, Tyler Conklin, Hayden Hurst. Do we have any closing thoughts on this team, fellas?
I mean, probably the most disgusting offenses that we invested in, to be honest. But like,
yeah,
you know what? There's 500,000 people in this tournament. If some crazy shit goes wrong in the NFL season, and we get some injuries and that kind of stuff, I feel like some of these players could actually pay off at their ADP. And nobody saw Geno Smith being half decent last year, and the Seahawks players were all undervalued as a result.
Exactly. Kareem's team was dusty last year, man.
It actually wasn't good.
Yeah, like on paper, it wasn't sexy. It was like Panthers and New England and.
Who were his QBs again? Brady and Daniel Jones.
I think it was Brady, Daniel Jones, and Tua. I think that was the build. I think it was those 3.
Just Brady and Jones.
Might be right.
Quick note, by the way, 10 players the window lickers in your league haven't researched yet.
The window licking New Jerseyans? Come on.
Why is window lickers just such an iconic line?
5 players your New Jersey Guido league mates, your fist pumping New Jersey Guido league mates have never heard of.
5 players that your league mates won't draft because they're out to lunch.
Bro, I swear, if it's like a catchy title, it could be the most useless, stupidest thing you've ever read.
Yeah.
If it's a catchy title, people will fucking watch it.
It's
Your
so funny too. People
league
get like
mates, your Cretan league mates, pinhead, dunce cap, dimwit league mates.
it's funny people get so mad about it too. It's like it's just the game of YouTube, man. Like it's
You
really
clicked on the
like,
video. Don't be
yeah,
mad.
like you
Don't be
clicked.
mad.
First of all, you clicked. And second
Gotcha.
of all, if you're coming to YouTube for like the most original thumbnail art and titles of all time, then like what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like you're coming to watch a good video. The way it's packaged, like it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like you're gonna stay for the good content. If I have to get you there with a fucking clicky thumbnail and a weird fucking name, so
yeah, I gotta
be
make
it,
a dumb face.
you know.
Just me to my camera. I know Bush did a little photo shoot for me, or not Bush. Danny did a little photo shoot for me.
Bro, Ron's like, can you send me a headshot for the thumbnail? I sent him like 8 photos. I'm like, just pick the one you like best here.
Also, Danny, can I ask you a serious question? Has
What?
the cord arrived yet? The one that you needed to hook up your camera? So why are you still using your webcam, dude? Get the shit going. We have Danny's whole camera set up like ready now, and this guy's still using his fucking.
He was showing
webcam.
me. I was like, dude, that's a nice camera. He's got like a nice Sony going.
Yeah, it's the same camera I have. He's just for some
Got a
reason he's
Sony.
still using his webcam like an absolute nitwit.
I'm probably the idiot league mate.
Dude, there was 3 people in my league last year in my home league whose team name was Idiot League Mate.
Oh my god. But all right, fellas, I appreciate you guys coming out. I'm gonna wrap it up here. But yeah, you guys can check them out. Fantasy Stock Exchange on YouTube. I'm sure you guys are familiar with them. I know we're technically on your channel as well, so it's funny that I'm the one that's like, yeah, we're gonna wrap this up, fellas. But yeah, I appreciate everyone that came out here. I appreciate you guys, hopping on here, chopping it up, having a nice draft with us. As always, I will see you guys in the next one.